Good morning. Good morning, JP. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning.
Good morning, Tom.
I'm just wondering what Terry's hat is this morning.
Something Trojan baseball.
What is that? What is that hat, Terry?
That's right. Trojan baseball.
Trojan.
Yeah.
Which Trojans, though? That's what I'm trying to figure out. It's not Southern Cal. It's not. It doesn't look like. Is it Bandy's the Trojans?
Yeah,
or
but
Chase Trojans?
I don't know who that is.
Amsterdam.
Amsterdam. Did not realize that.
Yeah.
That is a rare
Amsterdam.
hat. That is a rare hat, Terry.
Well,
Interesting.
I want to say good morning to all of our listeners. Kevin will be joining us shortly. He's running some sound checks, making sure that we're all good this morning. Got some Super Bowl to talk about as we get closer to tomorrow. Super Bowl 54.
We know who Terry's picking against.
You don't know. Terry
We know
might
who
have
he's picking against.
might have a come to Jesus moment and think of something else. He might decide to flip flop his picks. We've got possibly some NBA to touch on. We'll see if we can't touch on maybe some baseball, maybe touch on everything. We can even touch on college basketball if you really wanted to, Terry.
We
But
talk about
I don't
State
think
and
you really
Carolina,
will.
Terry.
I don't,
We still can.
I don't know
ain't
if
got a
Terry
problem
really
with that.
wants
I mean,
to.
just on kind of y'all finally got to 500. I mean, y'all, that's a great feat for y'all this time of year.
See, but I watched the highlights. It was like, when I watched the highlights of it, it was like all State highlights. I'm like, how did State lose this ball game?
Because they went 6 minutes without scoring.
They
maybe
did,
more
but
than
they
4
went
points.
for Virginia. Though they went 10 minutes without scoring, Terry. They just go in these long droughts where all of a sudden they can't score. It seems like they really feed off the transition game, but when they get in their set offense, they're just really struggling.
Sometimes Keats, when I look back at him, and we're already talking about Carolina State basketball is what we're doing, but when I look at him and I kind of question some of the things he does, don't get me wrong, he probably knows 10,000 more times about basketball than I ever thought about, but when I have Markell Johnson out there, and who's the guard for Carolina now? What's his name?
I don't even know.
That's what I'm saying, but he's playing him, and Markell's taking him to the hole for layups every time. That's what I do. I spread the court, and Markell, this is your guy, kill him. Because that guy could not play with Markell.
Mm-hmm.
And Markell kept taking him to the hole. But sometimes we go away from stuff like that, and I saw a feat that we're shooting like 26.4% from three-point line. Hey, you know, guys, that's what everybody thinks it's going to win you games. It also can kill you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it's doing to State right now because they cannot shoot a three at all.
Just really struggling at times. But, you know, Carolina's won 2 in a row now, Terry. They beat Miami last Saturday. After we contrast, talked them a little bit, and then they beat State. They're playing at 6 p.m. tonight, right?
Play Boston College.
Boston College at 6 p.m.
Then they got Florida State and Duke back-to-back.
That could be rough.
It'd be tough.
Number 5, Florida State.
I wouldn't be surprised if Cole Anthony decides to come back for one of those 2 games. But with me and how North Carolina played, I kind of went on a rant about it earlier this week. You know, this was your opportunity. If you're NC State, this was your chance. You had a defeated, really, North Carolina team. I know that they were going to come out scrappy because they needed wins, but we were injury-ridden. This is our 7th straight victory at PNC now.
Mm-hmm.
7 straight.
But, I mean, if everybody thinks State's going to fall over and play dead when they go to Chapel Hill.
Tell him Roy's got more wins.
No, I haven't told him that.
You haven't told
I
him.
mean, that's not going to
Same
happen.
exact amount of wins or
Tom,
whatever.
What's up?
Roy Williams has the same amount of wins at PNC Arena as Kevin Keats.
That's not good, Terry.
Folks, Roy Williams, Hunter repeated, this is your stat of the week on the show, that Roy has the same amount of wins at PNC, right?
Oh, I know.
as Kevin
PNC's
Keats.
Dean Smith Center 2.0.
Well, name it Roy Williams Court over at Terry. What do you think?
About like the Cowboys going to Washington.
That's exactly what I
And Hunter
Yeah.
even mentioned
That's
Terry's going to say something about the
That's
Cowboys. in Washington.
exactly right.
Which
what
has
I'm
nothing to do
That's what I'm gonna
with
say.
Kevin Keats and the NC State Wolfpack.
But
Terry, would you slide a little bit to this way towards me? We this is a scientific calculation that I put together yesterday of our cameras and get you centered up. I have to lower you a little bit. You're not
you
as
don't
tall
even
as I
you
thought
don't
you
even
were.
have Tom.
Andre
on the bottom
sat
left
there.
corner.
Andre was my model
Well, there it
yesterday.
is.
Oh, my Lord. No
Cut
wonder
off.
it's messed up.
So
Cut
it's a
off
little
my
bit
It's
short.
too far to the right.
We'll get you guys set
I'm
up
going to be
in
holding
just a
Kevin's
second.
hand in a minute.
But even,
That close.
hey,
Yeah.
Terry, But they're still 14-7. They still have a
they're
very good chance to make.
But what can
tournament?
What can be tough though, and when you're 14-7, and don't be surprised if we play Louisville today. Don't be surprised if State don't beat them. When State has their feet up against the wall like they are now, are gonna fall below 500 if they lose. They'll go to 5-6. But they play Louisville today, and hey, that would be a huge win for North Carolina State after tough losses to Georgia Tech and Carolina.
That's at Louisville.
No, it's at State.
At State. So that will be a big game. And when you're looking to get into the tournament, I know it's just February. It just turned February. But you're looking for some good wins, some wins that the committee's going to look at and say, hey, look, they beat a Louisville, they beat if they go to Chapel and beat them, even though it's not the best year for Carolina, State needs to get a few of these wins here towards the end of the season where the committee's going to remember them so they can get in the tournament.
There's like 8 games left or something like that, 8 or 10. But State still has Duke twice, Florida State, Louisville. So, I mean, there are games there that State must win or at least go 2-2.
Right. If they can get
those games.
Get a win against Duke or get a win against Florida State, that would be huge in building that resume. So, Terry, I'm kind of pulling for State. My daughter just got accepted to State, to the College of Engineering. So, I guess, Terry, that I'm going to have to sort of kind of pull for State. Does this mean I'm going to have some kind of huge inferiority complex?
No.
Okay.
Once that happens,
you'll become little brother syndrome.
You're going to become a State fan. I mean, that's what's going to happen here.
Well, it's not much to pull for in football, Terry. Hopefully, they get a little better next year.
Little brother syndrome, but it is. That's what you're gonna have to live up with. Looking up to the other two.
All levity aside, I hope they do get in. In watching them play, though, they've got to figure out how to stop going these scoring droughts they go on. Man, it's like Virginia. I don't know how they won that game. Scored for 10 minutes.
I watched against Carolina, and I seriously was like, how do they not get a basket in 5 minutes? North Carolina has done that over the years a few times where they've had games where they just go on scoring droughts for maybe 3-4 minutes. The week before, you go 10 minutes against Virginia, and then you go basically 6 minutes only scoring 4 points against North Carolina, and it's not even, and that's a beat up North Carolina.
Now you got to give Carolina credit though. They shot the ball well, which anytime you're playing State, Carolina's going to shoot 50-60% no matter what. I don't know why it is, but I mean, some of their shots, but Carolina killed us off the boards. And we knew that was going to happen because State only has 2 guys, Funderburk and Manny Bates. Those are the only 2 guys they got under there. And Manny Bates can't remember how many points somebody's down when they do it in practice. So, I mean, he
well, Baycott himself is still a freshman for North Carolina. I know he's a big body, but he's still really learning how to play the game at the college level. And as much crap as I give Garrison Brooks because I think he plays soft, he's turned it on right now for North Carolina because he knows he's really the only option they have coming up with a lot of the young guys that are forced into early playing time that Roy wasn't expecting to have to play this year due to injuries. So he's really turned it on. The thing that I'm really happy about is that, Cole Anthony being out has really given them and forced their hand to learn how to play together as a team, and they don't necessarily have to have that one man kind of just will them on. And they showed that against NC State when it came down to the, team shooting. It wasn't just one guy, even though Brooks did have a nice game as well. But when Cole Anthony comes back, because he has said he wants to come back, and I think it would be smart for him draft-wise because nobody has seen him since the first 3-4 games.
Yeah.
So for him, if he still thinks he's the top 5 pick, I would, of course, come back and play. The question is will he still be able to show his dominance? Will he play kind of timid, knowing that he does want to go play at the next level? And will he mesh with what North Carolina is trying to do offensively, with what Roy Williams is doing? And I'm going to say this, I don't think he hurts coming back. It doesn't hurt the team that he comes back because he's literally a walking 30 points if he wants it. But with what they're doing right now, they're playing with a chip on their shoulder. I just don't want to see them lose that, especially with a game tonight, that's winnable against Boston
That's
College.
a huge game.
It's winnable. And then coming up with the back-to-backs with the two probably best teams in the ACC, Florida State and Duke. So, I would use these games as build-up games, morale boosters. There are games you can win or should win, even though you are hurt with injuries. Use this as a time to just make sure that what you're doing, you're getting better, and you're perfecting what Roy Williams really wants you to do right now. And this is probably gonna be, if they even get close to finishing 500 or over 500, it's gonna be probably the hardest year Roy Williams has ever had to coach.
Oh, it is. I mean, he's won 19 games in every season he's ever coached. And he's got 10 right now. And he'd have to win a few in the tournament and win out. It's gonna be hard to get to 19.
Yeah.
But as far as Carolina, today's a big game. If they can beat Boston College, they go to 11-10, and I think that makes them 4-6 in the conference.
Right.
But if they would lose today, then you kind of start wondering again if Cole's going to come back, because then you're going to have Florida State and Duke, and if you'd lose those 3 in a row, lose to Boston College and those 2, you would be totally out of it. He'd be 10-13, and I think at that point in time, Cole would say, why should I come back and get hurt on a team that's not even going to make the NIT? Because you're going to have to finish 500 to make the NIT.
But it's completely up to him whether or not whoever's in his camp, in his ears saying, whether it's mom and dad, whether they're telling him you need to sit, or they're basically going to say you need to tape if you want to go to where you think you can go in the draft, because it's a lot of money.
Oh, it is.
It's a big difference between anywhere in 1 through 5. It really is a big difference between 1 and 2. So if you think you can still be a top 5 draft pick, why not go out there and at least put some tape on the board, play maybe even a few games, and then sit your own self.
I don't know, these guys that are real young. I think these NBA teams already have them pegged, and yeah. I don't know how much I guess they're only going to college because of the rule, the one and done rule, like they have to.
That's exactly what Ben Simmons said.
So
Ben Simmons says, I don't know why I have to come to school. I'm only going to be here for 6 months.
So I don't know if the only reason why he would come back is do I want to play and compete at this level just to say I did it, because these guys know they're going to be in the NBA. It's just a 1-year deal. I mean, I would have a hard time seeing him come back. Not because of the tape thing, but what if he hurts himself? What if he hurts himself really bad, and that's what can really damage his career? Is it worth it? And Terry makes good points. Is it worth it to come back for a team that's probably, arguably, not even going to make the NIT? Did we just say that that Carolina might not make the NIT? That's kind of unthinkable. So I mean,
their RPI is like 93 right now.
Yeah, It's tough.
They're better than Duke, though. NC State, though.
No, they're not better than State. State's
Who just won?
State's RPI is way ahead.
Oh my gosh! Wait. So we don't do head-to-head in basketball either.
No, our RPI is way ahead of them.
What is NCAA sports?
What's y'all's overall record? 10-10.
1-0.
We're like
what is it? No, 2-0. Is it 2-0?
Hey, Terry.
We've only played State once this year.
1-0, Terry. That's the record.
Here's a stat for you. Carolina 5-5 at home. When have you ever heard of a Carolina team?
That's right.
That's 5-5
and 3-6 in the
Well, I can go ahead and tell you we'll be in 6-5 if we played State at home.
7-0 at PNC.
I don't know about all that.
7 straight.
I remember when the Carolina basketball women beat State, and I get all these little texts. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, State said, "We returned the favor and we beat you." So
what's
you know
y'all's
what
record?
I'm saying?
What's NC State's record?
What?
NC State girls basketball record.
20-1.
What is that one? It's 20 and UNC, Terry. You pronounced that right.
I remember when don't even go there, because I'm going to go back to old times again when Dallas won one game with Troy Aikman's first year. Who they beat? Washington.
So
there you go.
Dallas was Washington in 15. You're right.
That's fine. I'm glad that this is close, so I can't bring up all-time win losses, because I said it on the podcast, Terry. You have a famous line, when it's so lopsided, it's not a rivalry, is it?
It's not.
Yeah.
I'm the first one to say that.
So State and Carolina's not a rivalry anymore.
I'd be the first one to say that.
So do you think they should?
Who's State's rival? East Carolina.
It would have to be a Wake Forest or somebody. But now we way ahead of them in wins in that. So
I think you have to add the hatred factor in there, though, to the rivalry game, not just wins and losses.
It's big
the hatred
for
factor.
State
to
beat Carolina, but it's not big for Carolina to beat State.
Right.
That's
a
how
good
it is.
point. That's a good point.
It's because that's how it's supposed to be. I know that sounds arrogant,
Now,
but if you look
Hunter-
at the records record shows that Carolina is just supposed to beat State.
All right, couple of news and notes. Want to say hello to one of our viewers down in Florida. Headed to a meeting today at 7 a.m. Philip Russ is checking us out down there. Still tuning in to us on Saturday mornings. Couple of news and notes. Hunter, the Big Three, lower in their age. At some point, do they get enough money and enough draw to get some of the players like
the Big Three league? Oh, the Big Three basketball league.
At what point does
Ice
Cube pay Kobe White more money? Pay him $100,000 to come play in the Big Three for 1 year, as opposed to going to Carolina for a year or somewhere else for a year. Well, at what point do they get to that? Because you're talking at XFL. They're talking about they're open to drafting high school players.
Yeah, they're open to drafting high school
someone
players.
else in America is going to start paying these high school kids. If as long as the NBA keeps that one and done rule,
Lord.
someone else is going to do it.
But I think Adam Silver's at least touched upon.
Because you don't even need that many
changing
players
the
to
rule.
do that. You can just have your own little 3-team league with all the players that are kind of good.
This XFL, as you're sitting here telling me, could open it up to high school kids to come in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they didn't say that.
Commissioner Oliver Luck said there is no rule in place about 3 years at college. There's not.
Terry, do you really think seriously that Vince McMahon cares about the health?
No, he don't care about that kid at all.
Of young
Well, hold
kids?
on. You mean
He's
to
going
tell
to
me?
pay a
you mean to-
19-year-old instead of not paying.
But
the
here's the
19-year-old.
thing. You mean to tell me that Jadeveon Clowney couldn't have gone straight to the NFL out of high school?
How does
Okay, now wait a
Dabo
minute.
saying the
Okay,
kid shouldn't
very
be paid
few.
care more about
Well,
a kid than
that's
Vince
what I'm-
McMahon
but that's
paying
not
the
the
kid?
point.
No, that's not the point.
No, but that is the point. Just because you can, I've said the same thing about why they should let kids come into basketball straight out of high school. Just because you think you can come out of high school doesn't mean you really can. You might have the mindset, but you're setting your own self up for failure. I don't care.
I just don't think it's
No.
I just don't think physically the 18-year-old is ready like an 18-year-old.
Well,
may be
how
ready
many
for
18-year-olds then are going to get drafted by the
Not
XFL?
ma- not-
then
not-
that's their
but-
own
but
fault.
not- but not
if they
many,
want to
but-
try it, that's
Tom,
their own point.
Tom, could Maurice Claret have played in the NFL his freshman year?
It was. I mean, you could find one every now and then. But
Especially
I mean,
at
I- yeah,
especially
you
running
could-
back.
you could find
Well,
one.
it
every
was
now
the
and then.
same thing with the NBA's. How many out of high school were actually great?
Good.
Kobe,
If you take-
LeBron, Kevin Garnett, like
If
Yeah.
you
very
take
few.
these kids coming out of high school and say, okay, we're going to give you an opportunity to go to the XFL or NFL, that's not even a question. But go to this XFL, and like you said, McMahon ain't worried about whether they hurt their brain or not.
Yeah.
It's no big deal to him. He just wants
The
the kid to
NFL
come
really
over.
isn't
Whoa.
it?
Because
Terry,
that's going
Terry,
to up everything for
Terry,
him. I got
how can
this
you
kid.
say? Oh, look, how can you say a college president and a coaches who are making millions off of not paying players care about the kids' health, as opposed to the guy who's actually paying them a salary, same age?
Salary
Vince is actually
ranges-
paying them salary and insurance, and they are
have medical.
just. And they're just not getting paid. So you can't say that Vince doesn't care about their health and a college president does, because he's actually paying the 19-year-old and the president isn't.
They are physically going through development
Yeah, the same
of their
age.
body,
So what does it
of
matter
their
if it's-
brain,
what does it
of
matter
their
if you pay 'em or
everything
not?
when you're in college.
Yeah, but here's the thing. One of them gets medical treatment with their own medical benefits. There's benefits through the XFL. They've got medical. They're getting anywhere between $50,000 to $250,000
The only
salary.
difference is that they got a different uniform on, and one's getting paid and one's not, Terry. They're
But
still playing
both,
football.
They're both getting the
They're
crap
still-
beat out of
Yeah,
them.
they're still playing football.
Okay.
I just have to say that I think that college football would be a little bit better regulated than what you're going to see in the XFL. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just.
I
I mean,
throwing
I
it
don't
out
know.
there.
See,
Just
but
throwing
you're
it out
holding on to what the XFL was and not what they've changed it to.
You're right.
because
Let's see what
it's not
happens,
an
yeah.
entertainment show with wrestling anymore. They're
Again,
legitimately
this will
trying to be a
10
professional
weeks.
football league. It
10
is
weeks that I watched nothing from that XFL.
Well, Terry,
No.
you'll-
Now, I will say this: did you watch any of the AFL games
Oh,
before it collapsed?
all right.
yeah.
It was actually.
They-
It was
it's
actually,
football.
I
It's
kind
football,
of
you
enjoyed
know?
it.
This was
Yeah.
supposed to be the college basketball segment. Let's kind of get to that. I had a few more points before we got to the football and the XFL and all that. So the guy, the FBI informant in this college and football payment scandal is reported to come out last night that he's cooperating now with the FBI and basically just telling everything. Payments were made to or behalf to assistant basketball coaches at the following universities: Auburn, Alabama, Arizona, Louisville, Creighton, Texas Christian, Southern California, Oklahoma State. Directly from the guy his name's Blazer is his last name. At present, the FBI has tied allegations to the president and has delivered notices of allegations to North Carolina State, Kansas, Oklahoma State, USC in California, for you South Carolina fans, and Texas Christian. Creighton has not confirmed or denied receiving notice of allegations from the NCAA. Other schools under investigation currently: Auburn, Louisville, LSU, Arizona, and Alabama. For those, Blazer testified that he made payments anywhere from hundreds to several $1,000s to players at Alabama, Michigan, North Carolina, with Northwestern, Notre Dame, Penn State, and Pittsburgh. U.S. attorneys are saying that he has been very helpful, and if it wasn't for him basically, this wouldn't be going as good as it is for the FBI, according to them. Also making players report to Penn State. He was previously surfaced publicly in connection with a scandal with North Carolina and Butch Davis involving impermissible payments to the Tar Heel football players. 5 people were criminally indicted under that North Carolina Tar Heel agent inducement law, but Blazer was not among those charged. Basically, he was an informant in that as well.
Ohio State was on that list originally. It was taken off. Just want to get that in right there. They were taken off, but I noticed that Carolina and State are still on that list.
I did notice that nowhere on any of those lists was Appalachian State, and they're just smoking them all. So that's all I have to say about that.
They haven't beat State never.
And if there was ever a school you think you would have to pay somebody to go to, it'd be Appalachian.
Clemson, you voluntarily just went up there and visited the other day.
I went to the ski resort, not the college.
You went and visited voluntarily the other day.
I went to Boone last Sunday. I sure
See,
did.
both of you vacation.
Same thing.
There we go.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Visiting Boone and visiting Appalachian
More
State.
like
Not
look
the same.
cut beside it and go to Banner Elk is where I went.
More like I went to a brewery.
You need to go up there in the summer and find a creek to jump in.
Yeah,
it is
cool.
nice up there.
Yeah, that's true.
It is.
That's
Man,
one of the
cold when Sunday.
It's one of the best places to be in the summer.
Man, it was cold.
And on the Parkway,
That
football
wind,
in the creek.
That wind was ridiculous.
Some Creedence Clearwater Revival on the record player.
What is Appalachian State's basketball record this year, Kevin?
Not well. Adrian Delph had like 12 points last night. I think
that's good.
That.
You know, it's good to watch the locals.
He's been doing
You
well.
want
He's
to
on the
know
leading score. I think he's second
whose
leading
name
scorer.
was not on that list that blows my mind? Duke.
Clemson's on it as far as
It's probably football.
Well, what he mentioned was that what's going on with it is he's talking about different communities and different schools put their different money in different things. That's why you do have basketball and football schools. He's talking about the Clemson, and a lot of people talk about this a church that may be involved in something in some of this, in moving the money to the Clemson football players, but that they're I think they're the big target on this with all these teams. So. That's what I would be.
Well, I know Alabama was listed on there.
Yeah.
I mean, their name was on there multiple times.
Said Alabama basketball. So if Alabama basketball is god awful and this is cheating, how bad is the football paying?
I think it's from when they got the recruit Colin Sexton to come to them because he was a very highly recruited player. He was a 5-star player coming out of high school, and he wound up at Alabama. You know, they don't have the most prestigious basketball team. It was the same thing that raised eyebrows when Ben Simmons wound up at LSU. And not anywhere of the basketball
Wasn't
schools.
Godfrey at Alabama?
Don't you remember that?
Maybe.
Is that who got him in trouble, Terry?
I'm telling
Terry, am I remember this right? Didn't Alabama have a coach named Wimp Sanderson a long time ago? Wore like a plaid jacket and all that. It's like a long time ago.
Plaid
it seemed
jacket.
like they were decent back then. But yeah, you're right.
Wore a plaid jacket, wanted to be Bear Bryant.
Oh my gosh.
he wanted to be Norm Sloan.
I mean, but it seemed like they had some
and that
decent teams back then.
And that was not me just raising an eyebrow saying there's no way, because it's Duke. But it seems like every year, one of the, especially the year with Zion, RJ, and Cam Reddish, 3 out of the top 5 recruits come to Duke. And it's like, well, wait a minute now. John Morant technically played on the same team as... Oh, I see him. Yeah, John Morant played on the same AAU team as Zion, and he didn't even end up at Duke. He ended up at Murray State, so it's not like they just teamed up because they're all buddies. I mean, you got to be looking at something. That's people have been saying the whole thing because Calipari got busted the first time. How come he keeps getting top 3 or top 2 recruiting classes in basketball every year? It raises an eyebrow. It's like, okay, yeah, they know what the NBA is looking at, but John Morant just showed you that you can go play at Murray State and be the number 2 pick and be in the running for Rookie of the Year.
Tom, Big Ten, it just announced that they're going to allow transfers, one free transfer basically. However,
within the conference.
I didn't read the details. I just saw the headlines
how do
on
they
it.
do that with every other conference?
They're starting.
Agreed.
They're trying to get to that.
Probably
to allow
within the conference.
the students to transfer. Payouts came across the board the other day, and I had that typed out. Let's see. And what I mean by that is how much the schools got off their the SEC schools got off their sharing. Okay,
yeah.
I'm doing these numbers because I remember them. The Big Ten was actually higher. In the SEC, it was $46 million per school from the TV. $46 million per school. Now, I counted up the athletes, say, at Alabama, okay? Did the math on that times whatever, all the schools. That comes to, just on the TV, that doesn't mean concessions, jersey sales, hot dogs, tickets, any of that, $68,000 a player. Not football, not basketball, all of them. The javelin thrower, the girls, I don't know what
the speed walkers,
right?
Yeah.
All of those could get $68,000 in cash just off the TV offers. That's not without selling a thing. So that's how much money is being involved. And you wonder, well, how does the push-up coach get $850,000? Well, they got to give that money to somebody. So that's at golf coaches at Tennessee. I think was getting $650 or something like that.
That's a good gig.
That's a good gig. I mean, I'm working on my applications all around the country right now for golf coaches.
I need that job.
Just see, especially at a big football school where they got to, basically funnel the money other places. That's the math on it. That's in the SEC. The Big Ten's a little bit more. I just don't know the exact numbers on it. So higher than $69,000 per athlete, not football player, athlete in the Big Ten. I was going to do the math, but I remembered it yesterday. All right, standings. So, Terry, we talked last week, and I told you NC State's the cutoff for the ACC every year. And then y'all got beat by Carolina, so that eliminated y'all from making it. So it's these guys who are making the playoffs. Am I right on that?
It's
It's
a
only,
long way to go.
No, there's only 3.
I got 6.
No, the problem here is this. State is the 4th in RPI. There's only 3 teams above them, and that's them top 3 that have a better RPI than North Carolina State does.
So
Syracuse don't make it in, Virginia Tech don't make it in, and Virginia.
Syracuse has won like 5 in a row, though, haven't they? Syracuse playing good
But
ball
their
here
RPI is not higher than State's.
Right now, Syracuse is on a 1-game losing streak.
Well, okay, I know they had won like 3 or 4 in a row. I know they were talking about them, and I guess
last 10.
I know they were rising up in the comp. Boy, they're at 5th. But I tell you what, the ACC's really top heavy this year. You got 3 really good teams, and everybody else is kind of fighting.
State's RPI is 58,
and that's not usually the case.
That's right.
In the
That's
ACC.
right.
Well,
that's
I told you that's right at the line, Terry. There's 60-something teams.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's this 58th in there, and only Louisville,
So everybody
Duke,
above
and
them.
Florida State. Virginia, Syracuse, and Virginia Tech are below State in RPI.
So RPI matters more than wins.
That's what they say.
What
But the RPI
no.
means
Some
who
sort of
you play.
I just need to know.
RPI means
I
who
hate
you
these
played.
What matters? What matters is what that committee's going to decide on
see if
selection
RPI is
Sunday
on
or whatever.
there.
That's what matters
Sure.
when they get in their little room and decide.
Our folks at home are watching the ACC standings. Tom, we figured out how to put our screen up. So if we want to show folks a replay and something on our shows, so for folks watching online, if you're listening on the radio, you can watch every Saturday, and also our podcast live on Facebook. Hello to our viewers watching on Facebook Live right now. Share this video with your friends and family. We'll be going on to about 10:15 every Saturday. Tune in with myself and Hunter 3 times a week, and anybody else that in the KTC family that has a day off comes in and joins us for a few minutes. But going through the standings there.
That's what I'm saying. How
that.
far down is Carolina? Okay, they still down there at the bottom.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
all I want to make sure.
And y'all got beat by them, so that means y'all got eliminated by them.
No, really, tell you the truth, that's what's hurting State. The 2 losses to Georgia Tech and the loss to Carolina.
Yeah, I listened to a little bit of that Georgia Tech. Seemed like State started really slow that game, Terry. I listened maybe the first 10 minutes, like they just couldn't get going. But I know we're coming back to that. They've had just offensive struggles here.
When you're shooting 26.4% from 3-point line, you're not going to win. That's basketball.
That's tough.
Should we reduce? I know, Tom, we mentioned this, and we got to get to break in a second. And I think you kind of feel that way. You think we should reduce the number of teams that get in the tournament?
I'm always for that. Now, a lot of people are, again, because they love their 64 team brackets and upsets and some team you never heard of
I think
gets
it's
to play
fun.
Kansas. But I would say, nah, I think you could. I think a 32
I'm about to say that's
or
that's
a 24 team tournament would be fine.
I think if you just cut it in half, you'd
Would
be
the,
fine.
would the
32.
upsets be as important if we put their actual rankings instead of like 2 versus 8 and we put 17 versus 64?
Yeah, I see
Would
what
that
you're
would
saying.
that be like, hey y'all, 55 beat the 35th best team? What a great game! Instead of hey, an 8 be a 3. It's an upset.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
8 beating a 3 is a better upset than a 32 beating a 12. And
I mean, but I think the way I think about it, people would say no way, because that gives you like all day Thursday, all day Friday. I mean, it's just basketball all day, and people love it. So why change it? I'm a person that I like to think every game has more meaning. You know what I mean? Every game is meaningful. I think that's what sometimes happens to baseball, because they play 162 games. That people sort of they're
the same thing
interested,
with
it
NBA.
wanes, and then they get interested in it again.
It's the same thing with the NBA. Once
with
it
NBA,
once it hits
see
the
what-
All-Star game,
right.
after the All-Star game, it's like, all right, I'll start watching. I'll start caring. But before, it's like, nah, not thinking
But
about it.
you know, it's a business. I mean, that's how you make money. You got a bunch of games. You know, you sell more tickets, and of course, Kevin, director of hot dog sales, he's got to make sure he sells plenty of hot dogs.
They're
The
not
only
playing
problem-
games to playing games now.
The only problem I have with it is when you come to your play-in games and 11's playing 11.
That's kind of
But I
dumb.
like
That's not how that's supposed to be.
playing games, I think, should only be 16 seeds.
You know, that's what I'm saying. That's how it should.
Not-
16
not
against 16,
fighting for an
16 against
11 seed.
16.
What I
You
don't
work
understand-
your way to get in.
What was the calculus behind that?
Yeah,
I mean,
because
but-
why
I-
does an
I-
11 seed have
Hot
to play?
dogs, Tom. Hot dogs.
No, I think what it is, I think what it was is because you have to let these lower teams in that win these conferences that you've never heard of, then that bumps, say, like an NC State out. So I guess
It did last year.
they're figuring.
I don't know how.
They're
but it
figuring,
did.
okay,
because the
well,
first place team
and-
should beat it better than a 9th place team.
So you take like two teams that are close in the ACC. You put like a Clemson and an NC State. Well, which one should get in? Similar records, similar resumes. Okay, so I guess we're going to put them against each other so people won't cry
Yeah, well, I don't
that
know.
we let one
Clemson
in
did
over
beat
the other.
North
But it's
Carolina.
still, I mean, it's 64 teams already.
I
mean,
think
come
the
on.
play-in teams, the bubble teams, the winners should have to play the 1 seeds.
Yes, I agree.
I mean,
16
if
against
you're
16,
playing on the
and you
bubble,
play one.
Yeah.
get you button there, and you know why
Yeah.
they don't? It's because the 1 seeds don't want that.
Right.
They want to beat. You think Coach K wants to play Clemson in the first round, or he wants to play Stephen F. Austin, Hunter Yancey University?
They don't
I mean,
want to play Stephen F. Austin. No, he don't.
that not
that's,
them?
that's who beat him this year.
I'm sure
Did
somehow,
At Duke.
somehow before he retires, Coach A will somehow get a bye in the NCAA tournament.
Here's the
Duke gets a bye.
It's-
How's
yeah, this
happen?
is what's so crazy. I mean, literally, the playing games. There's no sense. Why? What do you
JP.
mean you haven't gotten the 11 seeds figured out?
Yeah, I
Why?
agree.
I understand the 16 seeds because those are usually the last ones getting in, but the last ones not getting in aren't fighting for an 11 seed.
Exactly.
They shouldn't even be near an 11 seed.
And that's what State is right now. They are an 11 seed in their bracketology thing playing Richmond. 11 versus 11.
It's way too early for that, though. There's another month left. It's way too early.
I mean, well, I know, but you know they do
March
this every
Madness
day.
is right around the corner,
Yeah,
man.
that
I
RPI
cannot
There's a
changes
wait.
month
every
of
day.
basketball. These teams have 8-10
Hey,
games
whoa,
left.
whoa,
Conference
March
games,
Madness.
conference
March
tournaments.
Madness starts today.
No, it does not. You have,
have-
you have
we
to
have-
get to March for March
No,
Madness.
you-
all right,
that's
Terry's.
the
All right, we
build-up.
got to go to break. But Terry's RPI ratings today: Kansas 1, West Virginia 2, Villanova 3, Maryland 4, Dayton 5, Duke 6, Auburn 7, Baylor 8, Oregon 9, and Florida State Seminoles 10. Better Florida State basketball school now. Is that right?
Yes,
It is right now.
That's why they got in ACC.
It is right now.
For
That's
basketball.
why they got in there. All right, JP, what you doing in there? You ready to go to commercial? You're waiting on us, I know. All right, buddy. Let's go to commercial. We'll be right back in just a few minutes on Saturday Sports Talk, KTCBroadcasting.com.
many like me. Cause I am one of the reasons you do what you do when you wanna be me instead of you. Cause I am still on beat, showing love to the streets. Come on, you know me, cause that's who I am. I only do things incredible can. Cause I am the seed of a chosen breed. You don't see too many like me. Cause I am one of the reasons you do what you do when you wanna be me instead of you. Cause I am still on beat, showing love to the streets. Come on, you know me, cause that's who I am. I only do things incredible can. Cause I am the seed of a chosen breed. You don't see too many like me. Cause I am one of the reasons you do what you do when you wanna be me instead of you. Cause I am still on beat, showing love to the streets. Come on, you know me, cause that's who I am.
We're on. The good thing for the folks at home, JP, I haven't figured out that if you watch on Facebook right now, I actually haven't figured out yet how to shut up JP. I've got that plan too somehow. I got to turn that off there. But they can't hear JP talking on the internet. So I got to figure that. I got to figure out how to get him back in here. But for the folks online, you're welcome. Just what?
Yeah.
What, JP? I'm just saying. All right. You're here, JP. You need to come in here to do your because I don't have you in there.
Well, how about the Super Bowl? Can we talk about that?
No. Not yet, Tom. You got to hold on. That's how we're going to finish the show. Last little bit. All right. So we're going to talk a couple of other things today on my list. Let's see. We like you said, we do got Super Bowl. We've got prop bets to talk about with the boys. Hunter, have a little fun with that.
Bets.
Greg Olson walking away from the Panthers are not going to be together. That little bit NFL and that. Some NBA, Major League Baseball, but real quick, what I wanted to get to first and is a little Hall of Fame talk. Did we get baseball Hall of Fame with you guys last week, Tom?
Yeah,
we did.
All right, now NASCAR Hall of Fame was last night, and the only person that I know of, Hunter, that's in 2 sport Hall of Fames, he was inducted last night. Joe Gibbs. Inducted in the Hall of Fame last night. 3-time Super Bowl champion with the Washington Redskins.
Coach.
And card owner in NASCAR. So Coach Joe Gibbs inducted into the Hall of Fame along with Bobby Labonte, Waddell Wilson. I'm not familiar with Waddell, old driver. And Tony Stewart was the headliner last night in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. But everybody... Bobby Labonte was a pretty good driver, though, wasn't Terry?
He was a pretty good driver.
He had to drive against Earnhart and Petty and all them, and then actually into the Gordon area and stuff. And he won actually a lot of races against all those guys.
When he won his championship, I still got that car that they come out with after he won. But
but would you think like and now at the end of it that Bobby Labonte would have NASCAR championship and Junior wouldn't?
That's true, absolutely
You know?
true. I wouldn't say it that way. I'm very opposite, I guess, of what you just said. I would think that Bobby would maybe have one and Junior would have 2 or 3.
Okay.
Without him having any. Is how I'd look at it. But to think Bobby Labonte was consistent. He reminded me of a Mark Martin.
Right.
that was always on the, and he could win any race that he was in. But last night, Tony Stewart's speech was pretty funny. And I loved it when he got to the point and he says, and I'd like to thank all my girlfriends over the years that I've ever had, because he's not married. He don't have no family or anything.
He doesn't? No children?
No. And
Wow.
he said, well, I don't know whether he does or not on that part, but I know he's had a lot of girlfriends. He's never been married.
Really?
I put it like that, but he congratulated all his girlfriends over the years that helped him through a lot of stuff. That's how he put it.
Thank you to a very soft legal system, which is why he isn't in jail after 4 or 5 years ago, that little incident. That was it, a dirt track or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, if you watch the video of that, you're like, oh,
Shouldn't have ran at him.
Yeah.
oh my God. I mean, gosh almighty. I mean, it's just,
But
it's just that was bad. But I guess nobody talks about that anymore.
Oh,
Like
they
it just
want us-
kind of went away.
He had talked to
Just like
Junior.
him and third leg Greg don't get talked about anymore. Somebody asked him about that at the Super Bowl. Hunter's going to tell you all about it.
Yeah, about that.
Go
They
ahead,
were
Terry.
racing,
Oh man.
and Junior was behind him. And Junior had been into the race for a few years, and this is when they was not in the Sprint Cup, but they was out down at the lower Cup. But Junior come up behind him and bumping him. And Tony kept saying, that kept just teeing me off. This dude behind me just keeps wanting to hit me in the back. So he finally got to the point he understood after a long period of time that I'm supposed to pull over if he's faster than I am and let him go, So he said he finally did, but at the end of the race, he comes up and knocks Junior over into the wall. And he says they had a few little altercations and talking after the race. But it said the very next race, Junior was the one saying this. So when they come back out, that he come walking over and he said, here come Tony Stewart. And he's like, uh-oh, what's all this going to be about? And he said Tony Stewart walked up to him. He said they were both young. He looked at him and he says, reached his hand out to shake him. So they shook hands and he goes, look, man, we're going to be in this sport for a long time. And we're going to be hitting each other and banging on each other, but let's come out of this and be friends and understand what we got to do while we're out here on the racetrack. And Junior said, you know what? He said, we became friends at that time. And he said, we still had altercations through the years, but he said, I kind of understood where he come from.
Yeah, I think Dale Earnhardt Jr. is a lot better person.
Yeah.
than Tony Stewart, a lot better person. I guess I'll just say that. That when that happened with a few years ago, I still hadn't really got over that. I'm like, I don't know how somebody gets away with that, because if that was me that did that, guess where I'd be? Right there in a prison cell. But anyway,
I'm in Tom's camp on that. Bobby has 21 wins. Have they already put Terry in, Terry?
Terry Labonte?
Yeah.
Yes.
He had 22 wins. People racing right now, are they putting in too many people?
It's about 5 a year now.
Right.
So
So do they need to cut that back at some point, or everybody that's ever raced is going to be in at some point? Here's folks right now that have more wins than both the Labontes. So are they Hall of Famers? Joey Logano, Martin Truex, Brad Keselowski, Kurt Busch, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, and of course Jimmy Johnson. Those two, of course. But that further on down the list is Logano. If him and Truex and Keselowski and Hamlin all retired right now, are they Hall of Famers? Is Kurt Busch a Hall of Famer? He's got 10 more wins than Bobby Labonte.
But you're still racing. I think that's the thing. You got to be out of racing for so long. And I think this group made 55 that they've got in it now out of the 70 years of NASCAR. So I guess if you go back and look at since they started,
Right.
and I guess they're trying to build it up. But I don't know where a point that you say we got to quit putting at least 5 in every year. And that's going to happen eventually, because eventually you're going to be saying, who do we put next? And it needs to be like Major League Baseball went, and there's only 2 that's going to make it this year.
You know who else? You know who else said that for a different sport? Deion Sanders said that about football this week. Basically,
He did.
We're letting too many people
I agree.
into the Hall of Fame. But I guess the counter argument is like, as we transcend over time, more and more people play, so more and more people are going to get an opportunity. That's just the way it is.
Y'all got into a conversation last week after I had left, but y'all were talking about Eli Manning. And, and you brought out, should he be a Hall of Famer or not? And I've always been, I think he should, because he's won a couple of Super Bowl titles.
And MVPs.
But those are the only times he ever did anything. and you went over how many times he did, like 0-1, 0-1, 0-1, et cetera, et cetera, et
There's
cetera,
a ton.
until they beat New England's in them Super Bowls.
Yeah.
But his overall record was like 117, 117.
500.
Yeah, and when you look at that, you say, okay, that'd be same thing as saying, okay, an 8-8 quarterback is going to be a Hall of Famer.
But it's kind of
You
I guess it's a little bit different story because those teams in the 70s were really good with Terry Bradshaw. But, the 4 championships, if you look at it, just the stats, it's like.
He's
It's
seventh
not- it's
in
not
he's
that
seventh
great.
in passing yards and 7th in touchdowns all time.
Bradshaw?
No, Eli.
Oh, Eli Manning. I was getting ready to say, but if you look
And-
at Brad,
yeah, right.
Yeah, why can a guy? But it's about. I guess the point I'm making is about championships.
Well,
and
Swan,
championships.
Swan and Stallworth, neither one of them had a 1,000-yard season, and they're both in the Hall of Fame. And Drew Pearson is not in the Hall of Fame.
I guess too, though, it's a.
Drew Pearson's the only wide receiver on any of the all-decade teams
He is.
that is not in, or only player that's not in the Hall of Fame.
And then when you go back and look at that, the only thing I hate about Drew Pearson is the first and second team. He's the only one that didn't make it. Even the whole second team's in the Hall of Fame.
Right. I mean, he's just no
Now,
Drew
I have a
Pearson.
hard time with that.
And they've done that over the years, Terry. And Cowboy fans will attest to it. They might put us on TV or put them on ESPN all the time. But when it comes to Hall of Fame voting,
They're not.
They push back. Jimmy Johnson just now got in, and he's been retired for, 20 years now? I mean, I don't know what that looking at that. Kurt Busch did win a championship, Terry. So he's got more wins. So I guess he's the Hall of Famer. Hamlin still hasn't won a championship, right? But Harvick has, Keselowski has, Truex has, and Logano has. So they all are Hall of Famers now that you can. So right now on the track, there's 8 Hall of Famers out of 35 cars.
Logano.
Yeah, that's a lot.
You see what I mean? So if we keep adding people, Jimmy, Kyle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and if Hamlin ever wins one, he'll be a Hall of Famer. So all of those are Hall of Famers.
Well,
And that's not even counting if Elliott and Larson and then any of the new kids start winning races and stuff and move on.
Is it still is the Hall of Fame struggling in itself still as like a business?
I have
venture?
no idea.
Because when they
on
first
that.
opened it, they said there wasn't a whole lot of people going. So
Well,
maybe they're trying to let more people in to try to attract more people to come to it. Is what I can think.
Gibbs has won 5 NASCAR Cup overall big championships, 2 Xfinity, 3-time Daytona 500 champion, and then this year named the Hall of Fame. In NFL Hall record, he was 181 and 108, a little bit better record than Eli Manning had.
Yeah.
Joe Gibbs born in Mocksville, North Carolina, for you Redskins and NASCAR fans.
I'm a little embarrassed to say I've not gone to the NASCAR Hall of Fame yet.
I
I
haven't
need to
been
go.
either.
Have you not?
Nothing I've been.
I have
I have never
multiple
been.
times.
Terry.
That's
Terry
true.
Reinhardt.
I've
has
been
not
multiple
been.
times.
Yeah,
It's
I have
neat.
never
It's
been.
nice.
Terry, field trip, KTC field trip. We need to go.
We're gonna take the pink
Live
Cadillac
show.
down to
live
we'll go to a
show.
Hornets game and a
Oh God!
and-
Don't make me watch that.
See, but that's what I'm saying. Is it
And the Hall of
if
Fame.
somebody is who follows NASCAR, and Terry does love NASCAR,
Yeah.
I just got to ask why.
And it's
why-
right down here in Charlotte.
Yeah, but why haven't you been?
I did this other thing that's, and it's one of them things that you got on your bucket list
yeah,
that you want to go do.
right.
But if other stuff's there, then I go do that before I go do that. And
It's kind of like my crazy idea to ride a motorcycle from all the way up and down the Outer Banks that I've talked about since I was 18 years old. But you know what? I
What,
don't.
along the
You know what? I don't
intercoastal
have a
waterway?
motorcycle.
I was getting ready to say, no, I wouldn't even think of that. Wouldn't even be on my bucket list on a motorcycle.
You wouldn't just want to get on a boat and just travel all up and down the intercoastal waterway?
That would be cool too, but probably never going to do it. But see, I have an
They
excuse
don't
for
have a
those.
boat.
No, I actually have a tin can on a shingle, but that's a whole nother
Oh,
story.
so you make
So if
that kind
anybody's
of
got
money.
NASCAR tickets out there for me to go, I'd love to have them. man.
To go, we need to go. We really need to go there because
Terry's
there's
begging
no
for
excuse
Hall of
for
Fame
there's no
tickets.
excuse for not going. You don't need a boat. It's close
That's it.
by. You-
I
we
can
need to
drive
go.
down there.
Yeah, we need to go.
Yeah.
I'm going to show our viewers at home. I've pulled up a few pictures for Terry, for these guys that have never been to the Hall of Fame. So this is what is called Glory Road. And what's really neat, Terry, is you start lower on the track on the flat surface, right?
Mhm.
And it goes around. You can see right here behind it, folks, right behind the car. See how it's going up at an angle? So what they've done around the arena, look at this. It's so on the inside you've got the you walk in, that bottom floor is where you walk in, and up top of that is Glory Road, and you can walk up there, and though it shows the banking all the way from Flat to Talladega, so you can walk around the track. And once you get over there to the Talladega side, because it's so steep that they at some point the cars can't just hold on, so they quit putting cars on it. And they've got stairs. You can climb up the stairs and stand with bars and hold on, because you can't just stand on the road or anything. But it's really neat. That's the second floor. It goes from the bottom all the way up to the second floor on the banking, just to show you how big it is. Bottom floor, you walk in. This is pretty much where you walk in, there behind that Reinhardt car. And on the bottom floor, they have first thing to your left is they have all the steering wheels setups that they've had over the years. So you can and they got a screen in front of them that shows the cars that kind of went with it. So you can sit there and the ones without power steering, Terry, you can sit there and the kids are over there just going woof, 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 just spinning those jokers as much as they can.
Just gonna throw this out there for you, Terry. Terry, for $49, you can get in. Unlimited simulator rides, audio tour, a lanyard, pit stop cafe meal, and a $10 gear shop voucher, Terry.
Look out, $10.
So you can go in there and get you a Dale Earnhardt Jr. T-shirt, something like that. I'm telling you, right?
Well, you think a T-shirt's only $10 there? That would be
no. I'm gonna say you get $10 towards the T-shirt. So Terry, you're probably getting out. You're probably getting out for $60. Not bad.
All right. So this right here is the. So, folks, they've got a room. This is the Hall of Fame room, the induction room. So these plaques back here on the wall are the people who's already been inducted. The ones in the middle are this year's inductees. So
was that a sofa
this is a different
and a
year.
television?
It may have been. It may have been one of the It may have been one of the broadcasters. If that was what
probably
that
showing
was.
the first race.
It probably was.
I was looking at it. I was like, man, did they induct a fan?
Yeah, this is the induction room for people watching online on Facebook. So they bring the cars out of the guys who ran, and then they end up their plaques getting put on the back wall, and then next year they do it here. So pretty neat there in the Hall of Fame. I recommend it. So on the second, you go up the second floor, and that's where all the memorabilia is, and you can walk around in different times and different sections. And Terry, it's got seats, helmets, everything you could think of. You can talk to the statue here, the people that's looking around. They do have racing simulators. That's what this is. So they've turned the cars into actual video games. So you can sign up right here where this guy is in the cage, and everybody sits in the actual cars and do the racing simulators. That is the only thing I really haven't done yet. Right here behind it, over here where this guy's standing, they have a pit crew area where you can go and do things. You can jack up the cars, pick up the gas cans, feel how heavy they are, all that stuff. Pretty neat. And then, of course, up top on the third floor, they got more stuff, more memorabilia and whatnot. Seeing those little jumpsuits, Terry, some of those guys weren't too big.
A lot of them aren't.
There's you look from the bottom row, and there's where it starts going up to Talladega. So there's a ladder stand you can stand in, and the cars come all the way down and around.
So what
to Flat?
How much time would you budget for the NASCAR Hall of Fame?
If I don't know, if you're not doing simulators, I'd say you could walk through and just I'm not doing anything. I'm just casually looking in an hour probably. But if you wanted to read stuff and get into it, you could spend a couple hours easy. Just if you just wanted to be interested, if you want to take it as educational as you can be, you can take as long as you want. And then the simulators, like I said, I don't know how long that. I'm sure that it's not too long, but haven't done that. It's my kid's son's next step. He wants to get in and race, but I've seen him race on the PlayStation. I'm like, I'm not paying $25 for you to go out here and wreck everybody else that's playing that's wrestling. Right
well, I've driven on my way to school in the summertime. I've driven right by the Pro Football Hall of Fame about 7 or 8 times, and I was like, I need to stop, but I just don't have time.
That's me.
How did they get
by?
I've driven right by it 7 or 8 times.
How did they get a ghost's legs in that
they
picture?
do if you're watching online. Look at that.
That is weird, isn't it?
But I love some of the cars because the Wrangler car, I've got that one, and I mean, it's just a bunch that you go through, and knowing that you got a simulation at your house.
The Wrangler car, that's old school right there.
I saw a picture last weekend of Junior crawling in the Petty car there, and I'm like, I didn't get to go across the rope and sit in the car. Well, that's not fair. I want to sit in the Richard Petty. He was sitting in the STP one.
Yeah.
All right, JP, are you ready for a break? JP's ready for a break. I'm going to send the folks on down the rabbit hole watching online here in a second if I hit the wrong button. All right, we'll be back in a minute on KTCBroadcasting.com. JP, we're just talking a little Coach K temper tantrum. JP, you got some news for us? You want to come in and join us? Come on, JP. J Pizzle, folks, Shizzle's coming to join the Hizzle, Tommy.
He's going over it. He bringing his own laptop and everything.
Laptop.
He's got some news.
Laptop Prather's up
Look
in
at
the
this.
house.
Let me get out of your way, JP. I'm sorry. I'm in your way.
Real sports are happening, Terry. Get out of the way.
That's it. You
Now,
tell
JP,
us.
do those work?
This is an
Do those work,
opportunity.
JP?
Let's see if you can turn them up.
Do those work,
Yours?
JP?
Yeah, that works.
Talk,
Good
JP.
job, JP. Tell us what's happening.
Well, the Australian Open,
Yeah.
tennis. Since y'all don't talk about it, I might as well talk about it.
There you go.
The Australian Open is actually coming to its. Hey, look, this is the only sport I care about.
I know.
This is all I get.
It's like
Go
we've been
ahead.
wasting your time this whole time.
Just about, yeah.
That's why. Let me get
But,
this out of your way, JP. You keep moving it to me.
Yeah, but the Australian Open will be ending tomorrow with the men's finals, which don't know much about that right now. Let me pull it up.
Keenan wins the Aussie Open for first Grand Slam title. Sophia
Yeah, we have
Keenan.
Novak Djokovic in the finals, which he is number 2 right now. I don't like Novak Djokovic, just for y'all to know. I cannot stand the guy. So
You don't like
he is-
Joker?
Yeah, literally, he is a joker.
That's
Literally,
he's the Joker.
He is. Literally.
Who's he playing?
He's playing. I don't know.
Is you don't know or you
Okay.
can't pronounce his name?
No, I can pronounce his name. I just gotta find it. Somebody hacked into my phone.
Well, Djokovic is the
Dominic-
defending champion. This is JP's Sports Minute, folks. If you're watching online, he's the orange coat in the corner with his back turned to the big area. It's wave at everybody, JP. All right, JP. So you got to figure it out yet, buddy?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's he's non-seeded as far as I know. Looks like it. No, he's number 5. He's the number 5 seeded. The guy I've got, Dominique Thiem. Yeah, but in the quarterfinals we had the number 2 seed. I think he was. Somebody's controlling my computer. Okay, yeah. And the quarterfinal and semifinals, Novak defeated Roger Federer, which, in my opinion, is the greatest tennis player of all time.
All right.
But
I
that's-
agree.
that's
I
just-
agree.
Yeah. He deserves to be number 1. However, I don't mind the number 1 seed in Rafael Nadal right now. He because Novak's number 2, Nadal is number 1. He actually lost in the quarterfinals to the guy that Novak will be playing tomorrow in the finals. The number 5th seeded player.
So you trying to tell me that Federer's not in it,
and Nadal's
Nadal's not in it?
Yeah.
Come on, JP.
number 2 is going up against number 5 tomorrow in the finals.
And the other guy he's
I'm just
facing is
glad.
what? What's his name?
I think it was Dominic. Let me get back to the.
I'm just glad Terry understood what was going on. I was
Yeah.
confused.
It was
Terry's on
Dominic
top
Thiem.
of it. Good job, Terry.
Yeah.
There you go.
I do watch tennis every now and then
No,
Yeah, I mean, when it's
I was
on
just
at
trying to
5 in the morning.
I was just trying to
yeah.
understand where JP was going.
because I was even in the
My-
women's.
my
I was the one
computer's
hell
not
to
jumping up.
advance, but she got beat.
Waiting on JP's update. JP,
Yeah.
I thought you were ready for the update.
I'm ready for the update. What do you want me to know? What do you know?
All right, I guess that's it.
What's the
Well-
next one that after the Australian?
That'll be the French. That'll happen in May.
All right.
Oh, okay.
And then they'll have the Wimbledon, which will be in the summer, and then I think
The U.S. Open's
U.S.
next.
Open. And that'll be the last one, I think, for the season, and then they go back and do
See,
it
a
all
lot of
over.
people think I'm quite dumb, but I'm really not.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I just want to know how y'all think
Uh,
Federer's the greatest when Nadal smokes him every time.
Oh, no,
No,
I
they
love
have
I
great
like,
battles,
hey,
buddy.
I used to hate Nadal, but I love Nadal now. I can't stand Djokovic.
And it's 24 wins to
Yeah,
16.
16.
Yeah.
That's what, think of that. It's 40 times they have played. And the Djokovic, when he plays, him and Federer usually go 5 sets.
They actually did in the
Yeah.
semis, if I remember correctly. They actually went 5 sets.
Listen, and this is one of those at the top of their games, maybe not greatest ever, top of their game against anybody. I know you ain't gonna agree with me, but I don't care. I would put my money on Agassi.
Okay,
Agassi.
I have to agree with
Uh,
you there. I have to agree with you there.
If I had to put
On
my money on
Agassi?
anybody on a
Come
one
on.
match,
Well,
one day, he can play with anybody. Everybody
I
else has got
had-
weaknesses.
If I had to
He just don't
take
have that much power.
that, and y'all even going to think I'm crazy, I would have to go back if I'm only taking a one man beyond board.
Oh, boy.
I would take
That's
him.
a hard one to say no to. Yeah.
But he gets eliminated for his shorts.
Well,
Him and Daisy Duke had the same shorts on the Dukes of Hazzard, Terry.
But he won. He won.
Well, The 51.
Some
Tom,
people would say
you got a favorite tennis
Sampras.
player?
You
Now,
know?
a lot of people say Sampras on the accomplishments, but I just
I can remember some mornings waking up early and watching
Wimbledon?
breakfast at Wimbledon when
Oh, yeah,
Sampras was good. Yeah, so I
Man.
enjoyed that. And I actually had a friend in graduate school who was the tennis coach at his school.
I like the
so
guys that
we
move
would watch
around
it
more
in
as
the
opposed
morning.
Greatest
to
tennis.
the power hitters.
It's okay. Greatest tennis player of all times, Venus Williams.
I like
Or no, Serena. Sorry,
I was about
Serena
to say
Williams.
you even
Yeah,
missed the
Serena.
wrong sister
It's the
there,
wrong
G.
Yeah.
one. Serena.
Well,
Serena.
Venus isn't if they would play and practice like they're supposed to, they'd be number 1, number 2 in the women's.
Well, their doubles team. That's ridiculous.
Well, yeah, true too, but I mean,
But
still.
Coco is on the rise.
She could be.
She could be.
But you know-
16-year-old?
but you know-
She's beaten Serena
but you-
twice now.
But you know who I had a crush on who wasn't a really good tennis player? Think 90s. Who did everybody have a crush on that was a great tennis player back in the 90s?
Kornikova is the greatest.
There you go.
Kornikova is the
Kornikova.
greatest tennis player of all time. It's not even a question.
No, she's not very good, but
No, she is the
everybody
best
had
tennis. She's the best tennis player I've ever watched.
everybody had a
It's-
Kornikova crush back in
Or
the
that
90s.
or Sarapova. Some people would say her.
No, I had a crush on
And you know, it was Jennifer Capriati. I can remember her.
I don't
back in
know,
the early
man. I've
90s.
never really had a crush on any tennis players because their grunts are too manly. And I'm just,
I was waiting. I was waiting for
Sarapova
Hunter to end the tennis
always does
conversation.
that.
Thanks for Hunter. All right.
Every hit.
Although I have to say one last thing to Kevin about this. You're dishing on Roger Federer, and yet he is the most decorated Wimbledon champion of all time.
That's cute.
Still.
Tell me about the French Open with Roger Federer.
I'm surprised he's in it again.
Isn't
this
that the
year,
one
but-
on the clay that he never wins? He can't get out of the
Oh
first
no,
round?
he's won.
Which one's the one he sucks at? There's one of them he's awful at. Nadal's
Nadal's very strong at the French.
That's
Well,
what I'm talking
that's-
about.
well,
he can't beat.
yeah.
He can't
That's the
beat
thing.
Nadal.
Nadal's always been known as the king of the clay court, and the only reason Federer won it one year is because Nadal wasn't in it. That's the only reason.
Who
he
does
won
better
it.
on the hard court? I mean, it's 24-16. Nadal's all over him.
It's really kind of hard to say which one. I mean,
yeah, but
Nadal's been
what's the age differential we're looking at here? Federer's just been at the game for so long, so much longer
he's
than
I
Nadal.
think he's 43, 44.
You're right. He's been
in his
losing
40s.
longer than Nadal. I'm looking at right at it.
Yeah.
24 times. Smoked by the GOAT.
They're both pretty
Still,
good.
Bo. I mean,
They're both pretty good.
still. I mean, Federer's never been above the top 3. He's always been in the top 3 more.
Are
or
we
less,
doing
so-
LeBron math in tennis now? Is that what we're doing?
No, I'm just saying.
Greg Norman's the greatest golfer of all time. All right, that's where we're going with this. If Federer's getting smoked by that guy 24 times, I don't think so.
Still.
He's
I
cute.
mean,
He's
yeah.
good. Look, him and Sampras are the same player to me.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Federer just has one more title in Wimbledon than anybody else. But I mean, besides that being said, they were tied.
You know what?
with Wimbledon
You know what's
champions.
surprising is how the Europeans just routinely kick our butt in tennis. Like we don't like. There's not another crop of really good American tennis
Whoa,
players.
whoa, whoa! They kick our butt in tennis. Sometimes the
yes.
Europeans
The lady
have our.
that won
Sometimes
it
the
today, where
Europeans
was she
have our
from?
number in
But it-
basketball.
but
they have our
America.
numbers in
The
soccer.
The girl that won
But
is
it
American. yeah.
just
Okay, that's
seems
what I
like we
thought.
should have more.
Sophia
great
Keenan.
tennis players.
Man.
American Sophia
should.
Keenan won the girls.
I mean,
All right, if you want to watch that, dates through February 2nd tomorrow. I guess will be the end of it for the Australian Open. Big weekend of sports this weekend. All right, JP, get back to manning the.
thank you, JP.
Thank you,
You're
JP.
welcome. I enjoyed it.
Are we
I'm
behind?
just-
Are we ready for another break, real quick, before we get into our Super Bowl previews and stuff?
I'm just very, very
Are
impressed
we?
that JP
Okay.
keeps up with sport. Very good, JP.
Yeah,
He got
Very
an
good.
assignment. I'm
proud
just
of
glad he's awake for the assignment.
Yeah, well, I got into it like the 2 weeks I went to grad school. I roomed with a guy who was a big tennis guy, played tennis, coached tennis, all that. So we'd get up and watch and say, "Hey, this is pretty cool." It's kind of one of those things you might not pay attention to, but if you watch a match, it's actually
It
pretty
is.
cool to watch. It is.
It's all you.
I'll tell you,
Quiet.
one of the best things about tennis.
At
and
least they score
yeah,
Yeah.
every swing, right?
instead of score.
I like to watch
nothing to
I
nothing.
like to watch the
or
people
1
who
to
can
nothing.
serve at like 100 miles an hour. I mean,
That's-
to see it coming down.
That's
that's
stuff's-
impressive to
stuff's
watch.
Nuts.
Yeah.
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 The crap. I was on
Well,
a
Hunter
pace till
told
Hunter
us
started
about
swinging.
that when
Oh,
he had to face somebody.
one of my favorite ones is
The girl from Bandy's. Like,
Oh yeah. That serve was wicked.
And think of hers. Hers was fast, but it's not as fast
No,
as
not
what they do.
nowhere near as fast. She probably was sending that thing probably close to 60, 70. I was like, Jesus.
Terry. I'll
Off-
tell you.
and you got to serve it back off the bounce.
Terry, I'll tell you a quick.
I'm sorry I have to say
Funny
this,
story in
but
the break.
Andy Roddick still has the fastest serve. There it is. I think it was 136 miles an hour.
It's crazy.
Is that all?
There's no way.
Yeah, he holds the fastest serve right now.
We think 100-mile-an-hour fastball is fast as baseball.
and think about it, Tom. In baseball, you have to hit it within a 300-foot by 300-foot triangle, basically.
Yeah.
And in tennis, you have to not only hit that, you have to knock it in a little bitty square on the other side of a net with another guy waiting to hit it back at you.
What you hope is the first one is a fault, so the second one comes slow.
At 100, at a buck 10.
That's what you hope. Yeah, a buck 10, I can hit it. 136, I know, but it's kind of, if you don't watch it that often, it is cool, especially the finals or something like that. It's fun to watch.
All right, JP, quick break. We'll be right back. KDCBroadcasting.com.
Hey, guys. I just want to say a few things about Burns. Number one, congratulations to the Burns boys basketball team last night for their 2-point victory over East Rutherford. The last-second shot by Dorian Starnes puts them over the top. So that's a big win for Coach Jeter and his gang. So good job, Burns Bulldogs boys basketball, getting a win. And I know Xavier Jennings, who plays football for Burns, was on a visit. Coach Devine took him up to Carson Newman. He's had offers from Gardner Webb as well. Austin Setzer, another kid in my class, he's had a few visits. Coach Beaver over there was saying that I think somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 players, we had somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 offers at various schools. So good things happen in the Burns football program. And I just want to, tribute to the boys and their hard work and the coaches and their hard work and the community. And a lot of these folks come from good homes, good families, good mom and dad. So just a lot of good things happening at Burns. I just want to put that out there that we do have pretty good little football program over there, and they're doing a great job. So good things happening for those guys.
Hunter, you was at a basketball game last night. Real quick, quick synopsis of the East Lincoln North Lincoln game last night. You did
quick synopsis from the East Lincoln North Lincoln game. It was a 7-point game at halftime. East Lincoln with the lead. East Lincoln was having their way, being able to drive into the lane, either getting it to the big 6'5" Kuthan that's down there for them, and which, at the high school level, if another team doesn't really have size and one team has a guy that's at least 6'3" or taller, I mean, he can really dominate down the paint. So that's what he really did, and the team as a whole was able to get into the paint as well. But in the second half, North Lincoln went into the fourth quarter with a 2-point lead because they were just able to come out and shoot the lights out. They were just so much more effective offensively coming out of after making second half adjustments. But at the end, they got a little clock management was just bad on the offensive side of the ball. They waited too long for some shots when East Lincoln started to cut it close. East Lincoln just capitalized at the end, being able to get some key turnovers on North Lincoln trying to rush the ball when they realized time was running out. It was a 2-point game at the very end. North Lincoln had the final shot, tried for a 3 to win the game. I mean, if I was North Lincoln, I would try to drive the lane, at least get fouled, try and send it to overtime and see if you can outplay it then. But they went for the 3, thought they could get it, and hit off the rim, and game over. East Lincoln comes out 2 points, 2-point win over North Lincoln.
Is that not what you're supposed to do? Shoot a 3?
Well, I mean, if you really believe in yourself that you can play for the win, but the question that I had was, if you wanted them to shoot a 3 anyways, because they got it off of a miss and they had to push the ball down already, and they were running out of time. Or no, I know what it was. It was a jump ball. They got possession. It was 5 seconds left. Or no, it was a tie-up. Yeah, possession to North Lincoln. They had 5 seconds left. And of course, it's an inbound. So you can still run a play, sort of, for 5 seconds. I just questioned who they got the ball to for that final shot. He was coming off the bench, hadn't really played much in that game, wasn't one of the hot hands.
Yeah.
So if you do want to go for the 3, and I know it was probably just because he was the guy that was open, but you should have maybe ran an off-ball screen or something to get one of your shooters open, because that night, I'm not sure, he might have only had 2 points, and he tried the final shot.
I don't know. If it's a 2-point game, I guess there's 2 ways to look at it. If you've got a real good shooter, you're going to take the 3. But Burns, a little bit different situation. They had called a timeout. They got the ball back with like 20 seconds, milked it down to like 8 seconds, called a timeout, and they obviously the play's going to Starnes as their inside guy who hit a layup. So if you've got that inside guy who you like, 2-point game, I'm gonna play for overtime. I mean, unless I've got Kevin and I watched the Bots kid for Forest View who could just rain threes. East Rutherford's got a kid like that. He opened up the game with 3 straight 3-pointers, Terry. He hit 3 3-pointers in a row. He had 9 points, and he had all of them. So if you've got a guy who could stroke it like that, but I like the call that Burns made last night. Hey, get it to your guy in the paint who can get a bucket and win the game.
And North Lincoln was playing an excellent game in the second half. They were able to come back from 7-point deficit at one time, led at least by 6. East Lincoln just battled back. So, and to me, if I was in that position, I would try and drive the lane, because if anything happens, you at least get fouled if you're going up for it, and try and force overtime, because your team was struggling at that point to where maybe shooting the 3 really didn't help. But if you were able to force overtime, you'd at least have an extended period of time to try and get in rhythm again and see if you can just outplay them in overtime, not throw it up to chance in a final shot.
Yeah, especially at home. You want to play for overtime. Wasn't that game at North Lincoln?
It was at East.
Oh, it was at East.
It was at East.
Yeah. Well, some good games happening around there. I mean, I've seen a lot of good games this year, a lot of close games.
Last night, I was over at Crest. They wanted to mention how they've turned around their season, started off slow this year. Coach Vine's got them going. So have you seen them? You've seen Crest play yet?
I've seen them. I watched them in Forest View, but they were also at Burns.
Okay, so you've seen Maury Adams play the point guard. So a lot of the offense runs through him, right? Minute 30 in the game, he had 2 fouls. Second one was a charge. So he goes out of the game, hadn't even scored yet. Maury did not come back in the game until 4 minutes left in the second quarter, and they were up 10.
Really?
Up 10. No Maury Adams, hadn't scored a point.
Who are they playing?
Ashbrook, which beat them last time.
Who's the big kid that they had?
Who? Crest Ashbrook.
The Crest kid, big number 30, I think.
Eli Hall.
Did they feed him after Adams went out? Did they use him inside?
For a few minutes, but he was thrown at. Well, he got a technical foul as his 5th foul in the 4th quarter. argue. I'll get to that in a second. So Maury came back with 4 minutes in the game in the second quarter, got to halftime. He didn't even score. They were still winning 31-23 at halftime. So if I'd have told you before the game, in fact, he was my player to watch. And Jason hadn't ever seen him. He's like, good pick there, Kevin. I'm like, listen, he takes 20 shots a game. He was the player to watch. The offense. And Terry, give you an idea how he plays. He's a Ty Lawson type player, stocky, fast point guard. He takes contact very well and finishes in the lane a lot. Great jumper. So he reminds me a lot of a Ty Lawson type of player. And so they get to halftime, they move on. They end up winning the game towards the end of the game, but they got to the technical foul there. Him and the other point guard, which was Adams. So it was Adams on Adams for me. And then, of course, Shelby and Chris, they both got borders, too, everywhere. So I had Adams and Adams guarding each other. And they got in a tie ball situation. Maury threw over Shamar onto the floor, hit the ground hard. Well, they started arguing about the jump ball and whose ball it was, and the scoreboard had something different than the marker, I guess, at the table. And then Eli got in the middle of it, started arguing with the referees, and he got teed up. And then I don't know what happened, but I don't know if more people got teed or what, because we're in the corner, nobody comes and tells us anything. But Ashbrook ended up, they were down 10, took 4 technical fouls, free throws, and made 3 of them, cut it to 7, but they never got within 7 again. And Caleb Borders last night, he usually gets scrap points. Like, if he's open, he'll take it. He takes it to the rack. If he gets a steal, he takes it. He's very aggressive when he gets it, but they do not, run a play for Caleb. He ended up with 23 points last night, leading the team in scoring. So, wanted to mention him. He was our player of the game. We talked to him after the game. Outstanding player. Rob told us during the game that he missed football because of a knee injury for the most of football season. So, he looks to me like, just watch him on the basketball court, that's a defensive back. Just fast ball hog. Anytime a ball, whether it's loose on the ground or in the air, this kid he's around it. So we'll mention those. All right, let's talk Super Bowl. Ready? You ready for Super Bowl? All right, guys. Who y'all pick? Let's get over with. No, I'll just play. We know Terry's not picking the Chiefs, right?
He might.
He's picked against them all year. What's he going to do here? That's what I've been waiting on all week.
Well, I know who my mother's picking is the Chiefs, because she actually, the DeBartolo family is from Youngstown, Ohio, that own the 49ers. They still own the DeBartolo family still own them? I don't think they do. So. But she couldn't stand them for whatever reason, and she's always pulled against the 49ers for that. So
wasn't one of them involved in a sexual misconduct controversy, bought some hookers or something like that? It was something like that.
Speaking,
I don't know if I'd have gone that far.
I'm just telling you, it was something. They got in, one of the owners for the 49ers, she's right, got into some trouble. George Shin trouble, I think.
You guys can get the exact preseason pick was Kansas City to make the Super Bowl. I had Kansas City winning the Super Bowl. I'm gonna stay consistent, even though I like San Francisco a lot. I'm going to stay consistent and just pick Chiefs to win the Super Bowl.
So, well, I had our picks here earlier.
Mine's still correct.
No, it's not. You had Philadelphia, New England.
Come on. That's in the past.
Hunter and I had New Orleans, Kansas City. Terry had Philadelphia, New England. I think Tom had Baltimore and somebody. Did you have San Francisco? You did San Francisco.
I had Baltimore and San Francisco.
Now, Hunter and I both had. I had New Orleans, Kansas City before the season. No, I had New Orleans, the Patriots for the season. You had Kansas City
before
the season. So you got.
I don't remember who I had making it from the NFC because it's so wide open. But
I'm trying to think who you had either. I've got them wrote down in one of these rooms somewhere.
A lot of people just sit here and think about
papers.
it. The 49ers won a total of 4 games last year, and here they are, Super Bowl the next year. So nobody was expecting this. I mean, I'll say this: I had them making a wild card. Just as a dark horse, I thought they'd be at least double their wins this year. Not they had 12 wins, not basically 3 times as many wins as they had last year. So,
just looked it up. Who owns the 49ers? Denise DeBartolo York, John York. So I guess his daughter and her husband now own it. So my mom still going to pull against the 49ers because of her disdain for the. I just looked up Eddie DeBartolo, who owned him, who's from my hometown. Net worth $2.9 billion. He's done well for himself. But anyway, I
think he'd share some wealth.
No, probably not. Probably not. But they've talking this game a lot, and I think the what everybody's talking about is San Francisco's front seven versus Mahomes and all those weapons. And somebody said that, well, if your team likes the pass, they're going to get beat by the team with the great front seven, because that's all Kansas City wants to do is they want to pass. They don't have the running game, and that front seven's going to shut down Mahomes and those wide receivers.
It's funny how Kansas City utilizes their run game. They might not have a traditional running back running the ball, going to get 100-plus yards in the game. They'll run sweeps with Tyreek Hill. He runs basically a 4-2. Like, the dude's got jets. They are deceptive with how Mahomes, and they set up the play action, so that'll really help. But it also helps out with their screen game. They're a great screen football team, whether it's a bubble screen to one of the speed guys they have on the edge, or it's the screen to the running back. Damian Williams almost per game has more receiving yards from a screen than he has rushing yards.
And you got a tight end that runs like a wide receiver. I mean, with
he
Kelsey.
is a wide receiver.
I mean,
he is.
I mean, it's just, and then Sammy Watkins is like your second or third wide receiver, plus Kelsey, plus Tyreek Hill. I mean, how you cover all those guys?
Sammy Watkins, you see what he said? He said if we win the Super Bowl this year, he might take next year off.
Didn't hear that.
Yeah, he said I might just take next year off. And
probably going to go do a lot of steroids and marijuana for a year.
in
the Caribbean.
Because think about it. He'll have made, obviously, NFL money. and he'll have
especially if he's probably got a hidden injury or something.
And he's got his NFL championship, what everybody strives for. It's like, why not?
But I guess how you neutralize all that is pressure on the quarterback. And San Francisco.
That's what Josh Norman said one time. Josh Norman said in an interview, he said, if I win a Super Bowl, I'm retiring after. He said, I've done it.
Well, it's definitely about, and they play a zone too, Tom. So it's 100% about pressure on the quarterback. If you don't pressure him, you're going to pick apart the zone. Any quarterback can. But looking, Kansas City has struggled with San Francisco plays cover 3. They've struggled when the teams run the run past option, which is the option.
Right. I've heard that too.
So Kansas City, if they can force them into more man, so the run pass option is supposed to force you into a man to make sure you get everyone's got
the quarterback to run.
So if they can, if the Chiefs can force San Francisco out of the zone, I think that's their chance there. The San Francisco got a good line there as well. Patrick Mahomes lost 8 games in his career, none of them by more than 7 points. So think about that. Garoppolo, let me give you some quick numbers on him for you Jimmy Garoppolo fans. Some of you aren't around there. Where did he go? All right, 84. He got the best QBR in the fourth quarter in the NFL within one possession. However, that's a lot of math there. He's got the best passer rating with his team trailing this year, 115 with his team down. 60% completion on throws, 15 yards or more. It's the best in the NFL. So he's got the best completion percentage on deep balls. And 154 passer rating, not Mahomes, Garoppolo, outside of the pocket, which was the best in NFL history this season.
And something else.
So we're talking about Mahomes rolling out of the pocket. Garoppolo had the best pass rating outside the pocket.
And something else you got to, not only the defense, but the running game of San Francisco. I know we talked about the Chiefs, but if they're able to grind it out and keep the ball away from them and play good defense,
well,
I think
the 49ers have got it's substantially better running game than Kansas City, because Kansas City's is non-existent. They just do it differently than the traditional fullback running back setup that they like to run
they just
with 49ers.
They made Green Bay look awful, didn't they,
They
Terry?
did.
Gosh
They
almighty.
did.
I mean, I felt sorry for Green Bay. I mean, it's pretty bad when okay, we're going to hand the ball off to this guy, and he's still getting 9 or 10 yards.
The only thing I hate about
every
that
time.
game is I knew a lot of Green Bay fans, and I just sent them a sorry. I mean, I knew if that would have been Dallas, I'd have been like, you
Well, it
mean
was
we
the
made
year
it this
before,
far and do nothing?
Wow.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
Happens
that's how
all
you,
the time.
I mean,
Well, but I will say this. Kansas City's rush defense was not great during the regular season, but when they needed to step up against Derrick Henry, they kept him under 100 yards. They only got him to 70.
Their defense is better than I think some people give them credit for, and that's the difference between this year's team and last
Respectively,
year's.
6 and 7 in the NFL.
All right, let's
49ers 6.
Yeah.
Kansas
Yeah.
City Chiefs
Yeah.
7.
All right, we're gonna finish the show with our picks. Let's do a couple other fun things with Kansas City and San Francisco before we go to our first break. Let's start in San Francisco, and we want to do the Mount Rushmore of 49ers. Hunter and myself did this yesterday.
We had 3 out of the 4.
On both teams, we pretty much agreed to 3 or 4 people on both teams, and the fourth one was just a melee. So he's like, we'll just have to talk to Tom and Terry and see what they go on this. All right, so our 3 automatics for the San Francisco 49ers. Let's see if Tom and Terry agree with us. Number 1, Joe Montana.
I agree.
No in particular order. I'm just saying 1, 2, 3. Number 2, Jerry Rice.
I agree.
Number 3,
Ronnie Lott.
Ronnie Lott.
Well, then you have to put Steve Young on there.
Whoa. We'll get to that. So that was the 3 we agreed to. Now, if that's the 3 we agreed to, Tom says Steve Young. Why?
Well, how many Super Bowls he won? 2?
1.
I was thinking he won 2. He won 1 Super Bowl.
1.
Okay. Well, he did win a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it just, he's a winner.
Charles
He
Haley
played there a
won.
long
Charles
time.
Haley won 5 Super Bowls.
I guess, yeah, good
3 with
point.
Dallas. He
Good
won
point.
2 with San Francisco. Charles Haley was my 4th.
I guess because you see Steve Young on TV so much.
Hunter had Steve Young. I had
No,
Charles
I didn't
Haley.
have Steve Young.
Oh, did
You
have?
wouldn't
That's
let
why
me keep mine. I had Dion.
You had Dion. I said he played like 1 or 2.
No,
he played 1 or 2 years.
And what did he do
Wait,
in those
wait,
1 or
wait,
2
But
years?
if you're going to take Dion, though, then I think he trumps Steve Young because I don't think Steve Young
Hold
wins
on.
that without Dion.
Hold on, you didn't say
That's what I'm saying.
you didn't say Roger Craig either.
Not
Roger
even-
Craig would have been on mine.
Roger Craig.
Well,
was just
first of
awesome.
all,
he was
Frank-
a thousand guy, wasn't he, Terry? 1,000
Frank
rushing,
Gore's
yeah.
better than Roger Craig.
Frank Gore is 3rd all-time rushing. Third.
Roger Craig would have been on mine, and Charles Haley would have been my other one.
Charles Haley's my 4th. You kicking off Ronnie Lott for
Yeah.
Roger Craig?
Yep.
Ronnie Lott.
Ronnie Lott might be the greatest
Pretty
safety
good.
of all time.
Yeah, he was good.
Oh, I don't know about all that.
He was pretty good.
He's
Who's
good.
the guy
but
that
he,
caught the Dwight Clark? What about Dwight Clark?
Well, he only
caught
had
one pass.
catch. Yeah.
That guy caught a pass. Listen, this is Mount Rushmore. Montana Rice.
He caught more than 1 pass.
All right.
Come on.
So my nominations were, I thought Lott's an automatic on that. And Charles Haley were my last 2. Hunter had Dion and Lott.
Look up Dwight Clark's stats now.
Oh,
Dion.
Tom, I understand you like Dwight Clark, but
You know why I liked Dwight Clark? Because it was like one of the first games I can remember. It's like 81. That was the 81 season. Maybe I was 7 or 8, and I remember it was like the most amazing thing ever. When
Lynn
he caught
Swan
that
got in the
ball.
Hall of Fame for catching 1 pass, so congratulations to him. But if you're
Tyree
going to say
Hill might.
if you're going to say Dwight Clark, why are you not going to say Terrell Owens?
Because
David Tyree, that's what it is. David Tyree might.
This is what's tough. San Francisco, here's the nominations people you can get, guys. After Montana and Rice, Steve Young, Ronnie Lott, Terrell Owens, Frank Gore, Roger Craig. Tom said Dwight Clark. That's awful. Patrick Willis, Dion,
not
if he
awful.
qualifies, Charles Haley.
Dwight Clark, 2 Super Bowl championships, 2
Yeah, he
Pro
was the
Bowl
catalyst.
appearances,
He was the
all
catalyst.
pro in 82.
He was the catalyst.
NFL receptions leader in 1982, and his number was retired.
Number
Did you say he-
retired. That gets you in the Mount Rushmore. So he's better than Terrell Owens right now. That's what we're talking about, Tom. I ain't saying he's not.
But you just said he caught 1 pass, and I
He
just
did.
gave you a no.
So did Lynn Swan.
No. He didn't
Hey,
get
Tom,
more than 1 pass.
listen, I would give you this credit. He's one of the top 40 players. He would be maybe the slot receiver, 4th or 5th wide receiver in San Francisco history.
But
You got Jerry Rice, John
you,
Taylor, Terrell Owens.
you acted like he just caught 1 pass.
He's not
It was
even on
good.
the Mount Rushmore of wide receivers in San Francisco.
He went to. Yeah, he is.
He might be 4th.
He went.
He's behind Rice, Owens, and John Taylor.
No, you're not going to put him ahead of John. Well, I guess John. He had to catch in the Super Bowl. Yeah, I guess.
He had 1 catch, too.
But he went to Garinger High School. Come on, Dwight
right.
Clark went to Garinger.
Congratulations.
He's a local product.
All right.
Come on.
I'll give you this, Tom. Final say on Dwight Clark. I will put him on the Mount Rushmore of Garinger High School.
very, very good.
There
Very
we
good.
go.
Yeah.
All right, Terry, you're 4 49ers.
Well, those were my 4. I would have took the first 2 that you said, Rice and Montana, Charles Haley, and Roger Craig would have been
All right,
mine.
Tom, who you got?
I guess Roger Craig's going to be the 4th. Now that I've thought about it, Roger Craig's got to be my 4th. I agreed with the other 3 you came up with. The 4th is tough. The 4th
Yeah,
one's
it is.
tough.
Yeah.
Craig, 8,000 yards. Frank Gore, about 14,000.
Frank Gore's got a lot more yard, but it just seems like it's
Frank Gore been around forever.
He's been around forever, and he's a great guy, and he's a hard
15,
worker.
16 seasons.
16. See, he was. They did an interview with him and asked him if he wanted to come back, and he said, I still feel good. March, I'm going to kind of explore my options. But he just seemed like a really, really good, just a blue collar lunch pail type guy.
Whoa!
But
let's not forget. Randy Moss had a stint in the 49ers.
Yeah, but he was
now Dwight Clark definitely in on that.
Not on that list.
wasn't a 49.
He had a quick stint.
I just feel that Dwight Clark was a lot better than you're giving him credit for.
He was decent.
And he caught that pass. Remember when he caught it, no gloves on? That was the era of no gloves. He went up there and
First
caught
of
it, no
all,
gloves on.
He's not as good as those other ones, first of all. Second of all, you're not going to give me any Cowboys fan at any point give Dwight Clark credit for anything other than pass
You're
interference.
exactly right. I don't give him credit for nothing.
He pushed off in the back of the end zone.
And then which happens on every
He didn't
play.
get
The
2
guy-
feet
the
down.
The guy for
And Montana was trying to
the
just throw the
Vikings
ball
did the
away.
same.
Montana
thing.
traveled.
That's how
he
great
didn't
the catch
dribble
was, Terry. Montana was trying to throw the ball away, and he still caught it.
All right, Chiefs. This is hard too, guys. This is hard too.
Yeah, this
All right.
is
We
pretty
had 3.
We
the same
had 3 we all agreed on, and then of course again the fourth one was the question. So our agrees on. See if y'all get yeses on these. Lynn Dawson. Nobody agrees on that one.
We're just listening.
Derek
Tony
Thomas
Gonzalez.
and Tony Gonzalez.
definitely.
Those are our
The
3.
last 2.
Derek
for sure.
Thomas, Tony Gonzalez,
and
and
Lynn
Lynn
Dawson,
Dawson.
if you go in history. Yeah.
So nobody, y'all don't want to kick any of those off? Terry,
No.
you like those 3?
I'll take those 3.
Dawson,
I'll take
Derek
those.
Thomas, and Tony Gonzalez. Then it got crazy.
No Patrick Mahomes. If anybody said Patrick Mahomes, something's wrong with you.
It's not.
He's
not
he's
been
on the
enough
honorable
time.
lynching right now.
It's not been
Okay.
enough time yet.
That's what I'm
If
saying.
he wins this Super Bowl,
We
It's
said
not-
if he wins the Super Bowl, he's on it.
No, not that fast.
Well, Lynn Dawson is on it. He got one.
Lynn Dawson
Against
played a
no-
while. I mean, Patrick Mahomes might not even make another
Patrick
play.
Lynn
Mahomes-
Dawson was smoking cigarettes and drinking beer at halftime, Terry.
Well, same thing with Sonny Jurgensen and Billy Kilmer.
Patrick Mahomes already won a. What do you want? He's already won the MVP with a 50 and 5,000 yard season,
Yeah.
50 touchdown, 5,000 yard
Okay,
season.
so he had
and
a
then
great
back
year, be
here,
like Randy
and then
Moss playing for San Francisco.
and then if he wins the MVP the next year, and then if he wins the Super Bowl this year, I mean, he's already got a resume in only 3 years.
So the nominees for the fourth currently, this is before the Super Bowl,
Priest Holmes.
were Priest Holmes, Jamal Charles, Marcus Allen, Larry Johnson, Christian Okoye, the Nigerian Nightmare.
Joe Montana.
I asked him if that could
Joe
happen.
Montana. I said, no, he's on the 49ers one. They're not putting him on 2 different ones. Dwayne Bowe, Eric Berry, Tyreek
Dwayne
Hill.
Bowe. I don't want to hear anything about Dwayne Bowe.
I didn't think
Christian
you would.
Okoye. I just remember the Nigerian Nightmare.
Oh.
Chris Berman made him famous.
Christian Okoye.
That Bleacher Report top 25 Chiefs
Yep.
of all time, you won't
The
believe it, but
Nigerian
Dwayne
Nightmare,
Bowe is
exactly
on
what
that
somebody
list.
else
That's
said.
right. Nigerian Nightmare.
Yeah.
Good
That's
guy,
it.
too. Christian Okoye,
Yeah.
good guy.
You
Nobody
are
wanted,
correct.
in his prime, nobody wanted to tackle him. I mean, when
No.
he's coming at you, man,
Yeah.
nobody wanted any piece of that, man.
Priest.
He was
So
a
we
man.
narrowed it down to Priest and Larry Johnson, and we went with Priest. Holmes was our fourth
Yeah, he had a really great career.
all-time
Yeah.
Chief. The big things that set him, he led the league in touchdowns a couple years, 21 and 27. I think 27 he actually might have broke Emmett's record that year or tied it with Russian. Remember one of those years he was all over his Russian touchdown record. Had 4,000 yard seasons. So the fourth one in both of them we thought is a pretty good argument across the board is who to go with. What do you guys think about that? I can see how many years. I think I don't know how many years he actually played down there, but if you want to talk Montana, 2 years in Kansas City at 37 and 30, that'd be like taking Jordan at the Wizards.
Same thing as taking Mahomes.
Terry.
I mean, it's the same thing.
Get out of here.
I think eventually, though, Mahomes is going to be on there.
Terry's-
because
he probably
I think
will.
Mahomes is going to be
he's
on there
gonna
after this year if they
He's
win
good.
it. Ask,
Terry's random
ask
Chief
Chief,
hate.
ask
Really
Chief
good.
fans. They're going to love him to death.
All
More
right.
than what they already do with him. If he brings them a Super Bowl in his third
All I'm
season.
going to do right now, and since y'all put me to this point, I've been waiting for this, and I'm gonna go ahead and pick mine before we'd ever take another break. That way everybody can see. But this is me for today.
Oh God,
What's he doing?
what's Lee Corso
Oh,
doing?
God. It's the Corso.
Oh,
Look at that.
Oh my God!
I love it. You love to see it.
What?
Just wanted to pick it.
Terry's
There
got
Some
a
you
upset
go.
here.
You
Chiefs.
love it.
This was a
It's not a Chiefs
nice
hat.
made hat that I would not go and buy, but
He made it.
it cost me every bit of about 50 cents to
Is
put
that,
this thing together.
is that the only hat you didn't own? Was a Kansas City Chiefs hat?
Yeah, it probably is.
Did you? I just wondered, was that all Terry Reinhardt construction, or did you
This
have
was-
any help?
Was it? No, this was all my construction.
He does not have two things: the Kansas City hat or a Cleveland hat.
If you're not
You're
watching
exactly
on,
right.
if you're not watching online, I don't know what kind of hat he has on.
He basically just Lee
But-
Corso'd
But
himself.
paper clip to the top of it is a Kansas City logo onto
Yeah,
the
man.
inner bill protection holder or head protect, the little cardboard piece that goes inside your hat. That's how
He's
they
got it
decided
on
to
the
paper clip
outside.
that.
But it looks professional.
Is this your bold prediction? Your
This
bold
is my
prediction?
Kansas City prediction.
He has picked against Kansas
You know
City
who I'm
for
putting- you know
19
what?
straight weeks
Do
this
you
year.
know
Yeah.
why I'm pulling for them?
No, I do not.
I want Andy Reid to win his first.
There you
No.
go. That's all. Hey,
And a lot of people are saying that. He's
That's me.
they say he's a great family man.
He's
got
a great
nine,
coach. He's everything.
Yeah, so got 9 grandkids. I heard today. So I mean,
yeah, and he
he's
said they
really,
remind him of sweet and sour pork. That's wow.
what
They did.
I wasn't prepared to respond to that comment.
They
But
did.
Don't ask questions you don't, want
ask,
the
yeah, I was
answer
gonna
to.
say, don't ask questions. He legit said they remind him of.
I was
he's,
just saying,
he's like they.
I was
he-
your great grandpa.
yeah, he was like they make me feel young, but then they also make me feel old.
Okay, that makes
kind of
more
like-
sense. Okay.
Sweet and sour pork.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, okay. Way to go, Andy.
but he could have said sweet and sour sauce.
He
I think it
could
would have been.
have.
I think it
Yeah.
would have been better than the sweet
Yeah,
and
but
sour
he's-
pork.
I'll tell you,
Pork
yeah,
has
he's
kind
hungry,
of
man.
a negative connotation when you call somebody pork. But
Yeah.
anyway,
He's wanting some food, man.
yeah, I think a lot of people outside, like if you don't really have a dog in the fight, a lot of people do want to see. And he had the tragedy of losing his son not too long ago. So a lot of people, there's a lot of reasons to pull for Andy Reid. And
Well, there's a lot of things I set back because as a Cowboy fan, there's 2 teams that we hate. I mean, really 3. But, Washington's kind of on the back burner. They're our number 3 seed because we beat them consistently every year. But San Francisco, we hate them, and we hate Pittsburgh. Those are 2 other teams that we just absolutely despise. New England, we never had our chance against them, so we don't know how to, put our matchup with them.
I disagree with you because I think there is a lot of hatred between Philadelphia and Dallas.
Oh,
I
they
think there's a lot
probably
of- I
are,
think there's a
Yeah,
lot of
but that's
hatred.
We
just
got
now
5
been
Super
stirred.
Bowls. They got 1.
Yeah.
What,
When you
wait.
speak of Pittsburgh with 6 and San Francisco with 5, those are the teams you never want to jump away ahead of you. In the AFC, we don't care who's over there; they can win whatever.
Dallas has 3 Super Bowls.
We got 5.
5.
We got 5.
What?
Yes. Where have you been your whole lifetime?
Thought you only had
He
3.
doesn't- he
Detroit
just-
Oh,
Aikman.
you just remember when you were born.
He doesn't remember the 70s.
Yeah.
Hey,
He
whoa,
doesn't
whoa,
remember
whoa.
the 70s.
Listen, we were talking baseball the other day. Did y'all hear that
Okay, whatever.
podcast?
Whatever.
Listen,
You
Terry,
you do realize the
Terry.
podcast comes on when the school days.
you can
Yeah,
watch
but
it
you can listen
anytime.
to it at any time.
24 hours a day.
24
on
hours a day.
Facebook, YouTube, or
Any
or
podcast
any
platform.
podcast. Now, Terry, he didn't know, and I about fell out of my chair.
Go ahead. I don't care.
Who Stan Musial was? Never heard of him. Never heard of him. Just some guy down the street. Stan the man.
Don't let him pick on you, Hunter.
It's
Played
okay.
60 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
You know
60,
who Babe
60
Ruth?
years.
You know who Babe Ruth was? He played 100 years
but
ago.
what did I tell you? I said anybody,
You know,
anybody that
Ty
doesn't
Cobb
know
was.
sports knows who Babe Ruth is because he's a Yankee. I know he's originally a Red Sox man, but because he's a Yankee, they know he is. And they always talk Babe Ruth bar.
But you know
He's
Carl
everywhere.
Yastrzemski?
Who?
No. Terry,
You don't know
no,
Carl Yastrzemski?
No.
Did you make that name up?
Yastrzemski.
No, I did not make that name up.
Stremski.
No. No, you
I'm
Shrimpski
telling
is.
you, Terry.
Every Boston Red Sox man in the world knows who's that.
I'm not a Boston Red Sox man.
I'm
That's
just
that's what I told Kevin. It's like, I'm not a Cardinals man.
Yeah.
I don't know Cardinals players.
You know Josh Gibson?
Yeah, I know Josh Gibson. I know that name.
You didn't. No, you don't.
I know the name.
What
There's
sport did he
nothing
play?
wrong with it. There's nothing wrong
This
with
is
it.
this is like
It's not. There's
you know,
not. It just surprised me
Hunt,
if
really.
we're sitting here talking.
This is kind of middle schoolish. They're just trying to find us something you don't know so they
Oh,
can
I
teach
know.
you. It's kind of middle school.
It just took me by shock. I thought
middle
Stan.
schoolers.
People who watched baseball would know who Stan Musial
No,
was
it's
at some
nothing
point.
like that. To me,
Yeah.
here's my generation of stuff, and Tom, I'm like,
Hunter, I wasn't alive in 1946 either.
if I speak,
Right.
if I
None of
speak
us
to
here were.
people that are older than me,
He was in the war.
they're gonna teach me about somebody I didn't know nothing of.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me how good it was. I mean, that's like me when people speak of Cy Young. I never got to see him, but I know enough about him because people talk about him all the time. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so you know who the guy is, or you think you do because of this talk. What did he say?
But he can learn.
Yeah, Terry, you can learn.
I have a
You
hard
can
time
learn.
learning on that subject, but
Yeah,
I
Terry,
think-
Terry doesn't watch Star Wars.
Musial is fourth all time. I think
Never
fourth,
watched any of them.
fourth all time in
You're like
RBIs.
my brother. My brother's never watched any.
none.
Musial's fourth all time in RBIs, top 10 in batting average, and also I think he's around 15th or 16th, somewhere in the home run category right now. 3-time World Series, 3 times MVP, 24-time All-Star. That's pretty good. And he took a year off in 1945 to serve our country in World War II. Came back and had 222 hits and 50 doubles and 20 triples. Batted .365. After taking a year off and fighting the Nazis, Stan Musial batted .365 with 16 home runs. Where's his RBIs on there? 103 RBIs, 228 hits. He hit over 200 hits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Mike Trout has done that 0.
331 batting average.
Career,
Here-
331.
Here's a question for you: if there was World War III, do you think our professional athletes would?
No.
take a
No,
year
there's
off
no
and go
draft.
fight?
They
Don't
won't. They
think
wouldn't
so?
be asked.
You know, they wouldn't volunteer.
No.
No. There might
Give
be a
up a
couple.
million?
We had,
I was getting ready to say
there'll
there
be a
would be
couple.
some.
Be a couple.
There'll be a couple.
The
Man,
guy from
well-
Arizona who,
But
Tillman, Pat
yeah.
Tillman.
Pat Tillman.
Yeah.
yeah.
But
There
the
would be
stars
ones-
aren't. The stars aren't.
No.
Tom Brady's not going out there.
No. LeBron's
Tom-
not going.
Tom Brady's
Mahomes
too
ain't-
old to join.
Well, Mahomes ain't going out there, and all those fellas. But some quick notes on
There
that.
might be guys that played at
All right, back
military
to,
schools that definitely
might
would
be.
go.
All right, back to let's get back to our. Let's make some bets, guys. Make some bets. Make some bets. Make some bets.
I like the funny bets whenever you get to those.
That's
Those
where
were
we're
fun-
at.
Yeah, those were funny.
13.5 is the number, Tommy. Number of tweets by Donald Trump on February 2nd. Now remember, this
Over
is
under.
impeachment weekend. This is
February 2nd.
This is
Yes.
Groundhog
Day, Super Bowl, all on one day on Sunday.
13 and a half tweets over under.
Oh, okay. So you're okay.
There's a prop
okay,
bets.
okay. I would say over.
I would say way over. I don't even think this is close with everything going on.
Way over.
And then he'll throw something in about how.
Ted, do you
the
understand
wall
any
is
of what
on
we're talking
good
about?
I'm
right
saying
now?
no.
See,
on
but
good.
sometimes he'll do like little 1-sentence tweets. Read the
I know.
transcript.
Yeah, and that.
Shifty shift, get a life.
And
You
that
know, you'll see
counts.
something like
And that
that.
All right. Will we have a
Yeah.
player leave the game with concussion symptoms?
No.
Yes.
Will any scoring drive take less time than the national anthem?
Yes.
Yes.
It's 1:55 is about the average. Now with that, does Demi Lovato go over or under the national anthem 1:55?
Oh God, I'm gonna say over.
Over.
I was telling Hunter I always pick
Yeah.
over because they want to be on TV longer
Yes.
and they like to draw out some lines and stuff. Unless we had one that was under about 20 seconds, so when you're because they forgot some
miss a
lines. So
line.
that's the wild card. If they get all the words right, Terry, it should be over.
Yeah, then
Yeah.
they'll start mouthing. They forget where
You
they're
can just
at.
bet on anything you want.
You can
can't
bet on these.
You
Which
can.
which will you see
Yeah.
first? Which beer company will you see advertised first? Which soda can company? Which chips?
To me,
Always
this
bet
was,
on the official sponsors.
This was
That'll
field
get you
for me.
sneaky in. Now this one is beer, Coke, car,
M&M's.
M&M's
or candy.
or field, which will be the
I
first commercial
chose
after
Field.
the coin toss.
Can you place a wager on whether Tom Brady's tweet was a prelude to a Super Bowl commercial or
We'll
not?
see. Because they talked about that.
Yeah.
You can tweet about it. You can bet on anything.
I
Tom.
picked the field because, Coke was up there. I was like, if Pepsi was up there, I would have taken Pepsi because Pepsi's the NFL title sponsor for most Super Bowls. So
All right,
they'd
which,
be like, Super Bowl halftime show.
which
Pepsi.
coach will be mentioned first after kickoff?
Andy Reid.
That's what I said.
I don't know.
No, I said Kyle Shanahan. 'cause
Shanahan's a
it's
good
his
story
first
too
year.
because of his daddy's
First
legacy
head
and
coach.
all that.
First year there's a head coach.
Will there be any random women claiming to sleep with Jimmy G during Super Bowl week to get on TV?
Over one? Or
Over
under?
one.
Is he married?
No. No. He dated a porn star.
Yeah, that's who he's been dating.
I wasn't prepared to respond to that.
Yeah.
See,
You're welcome.
Hunter knows that Jimmy Garoppolo dated a porn star.
Because all over
But
the news.
Bring up Stan Musial, total blank.
Okay, hold on. Does this mean like you calling her a point? Does that mean really she's
Yes.
like
No,
No,
100%.
yes, 100%.
Tom-
She was a female actress.
Do you want him to give you her name?
Don't go look her up later.
just he
That's all
doesn't
you need to know.
he doesn't seem like that type of person.
Oh, he doesn't.
It doesn't
He
seem.
doesn't
He's
seem like
they call him Jimmy,
Jimmy G.
GQ. Like Jimmy GQ. I mean,
they call him Jimmy GQ because he is a handsome man, not because he is.
and he can get any women in the world. So
But
therefore,
if you can get any woman in the world, why would you go there?
Why? But why would anybody? They're what some
Be-
would
be-
say
because there's a
easy.
Tom, some people like.
But he doesn't need easy.
Tom,
doesn't
some
need
people
it.
like mustard-based barbecue. Some people like vinegar-based barbecue. Some people like tomato-based barbecue.
Okay, on
Now,
with the next one.
what color will the liquid be
Gatorade.
poured on the coach? Orange,
Yellow.
clear, yellow, red, blue, or purple?
Yellow.
Purple just
The
now
last
came
few
into
years, it's been clear. Just give you a quick.
See, but why would you bet on this stuff when it could so easily be rigged? Somebody's got inside access to that Gatorade
yes.
cooler.
Tom, you can bet on anything.
It's ridiculous. I'm glad. See, but I'm glad I don't because I tell you what, I've pretty much given up. Yeah, like when I was younger, I
Yeah.
might go to a casino, but I just don't.
Well,
This
look,
is-
you can always win stuff. See on this one. Well, Troy Aikman mentioned his past Super Bowl experiences.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to say yes.
Yes.
But if you put $2 down on no and he doesn't at all, then you're guaranteed to win more than $2.
All right, Tom.
I mean, you don't have to
Without
put
looking-
a lot of money down.
Without
Right.
looking at the odds, let's do this. Terry, don't look. Without looking at the odds, who does the MVP think first?
Who does he think first?
When they
Yeah.
say Jimmy Garoppolo, besides the porn star you're dating, who do you think first
Yeah.
for winning the MVP of the Super Bowl?
Well, what they're going to say right off the bat is, I want to thank God.
Okay, that's 3-1 odds to thank God. Tom, who do you think they'll thank?
Oh, everybody thanks God.
Not everybody.
but who do they thank
Teammates,
first?
coach, family.
Like,
Everybody
who's the
thinks
first one that they mention?
Not everybody does.
I-
So
I think-
here's the odds: 3-2 to thank a teammate, 12-1 a coach, 12-1 family members and owners. I think the owner one, that is a terrible odds. Ain't no player in the history of the world going, I want to thank Jerry Jones for helping me get out here today before my mama and before God. Thank you, Jerry. That's not happening. Or does not just thank anyone. It just talks about themselves as 5-2.
And then
I
goes,
did-
or,
I did it.
or just
I
says,
did it.
you know, I'm going to Disney World.
Yeah, that's one. You can bet on that too. All right.
People have too much time on their hands to think this stuff up.
Will Jennifer Lopez and Shakira kiss?
Who cares?
That's what I'm saying.
You can
No.
bet on it. These are the bets.
No, it's
Yeah, there's
minus
bets.
2,000.
Didn't Madonna and Britney kiss in one of these?
If you put $2 on no.
Tom, my dad didn't think when he went to get popcorn at the Super Bowl that that Janet Jackson was going to pop her boobs all over the screen and he was going to miss it. So
Yeah, I guess,
Jennifer Lopez and Shakira. What do you think? You gonna bet no?
I'm not prepared to respond to that statement.
Well, you're not ready
Devon-
for the next question, then, is he?
Yes is plus 800. Put $2
Hunter,
on yes, trying
Hunter,
to win something.
Read the next question.
Will
too.
Jennifer Lopez show butt cleavage? The fact that it's minus 1,000 on no is a joke. I'm putting so much money on yes. This is an entertainment show. That
And
Put-
think about it, Tom.
put the
These are
money on
stuff
yes.
that people are betting
These
on.
are real bets. You can click on it.
So what?
Yeah.
So what constitutes the showing of a butt cleavage?
That's between you and your bookie. Tom.
that's yeah.
totally between you and your
Absolutely.
bookie.
Like she wears like Daisy Dukes and maybe the bottom part showing. That's all for you.
But
man.
what if she just wears sweatpants and they're kind of tight?
The total number of players
yeah.
carted off the field is half. I'd take that.
number of players carted off the field? Oh, okay.
It's just
so,
half. Half.
So
a
all you
player.
got to do is
one player.
either one or no. So
Yeah.
yes, one. Wait, why? Why are they both negative?
let's think about it. You're taking a bet on the demise of a human being's
Right.
health.
Right.
That's horrible.
Have you ever watched
That's
boxing?
making money.
It's horrible.
Have you ever watched boxing or MMA?
I'm gonna bet that somebody's gonna
Right.
get carted off the field in the Super Bowl.
We just talked
and you
concussions.
would like me pulling. Come on, spear him so I can make $100.
Tom,
That's terrible.
I just read a minute
That's
ago.
terrible.
You
That's
could get
horrible.
you could bet on whether someone gets concussion. So now what you're
That's
betting
horrible.
on is here's that. Let's say somebody gets hit. They can't take him to the tent. There's going to be a better sitter going, say concussion, say concussion, say concussion.
That's exactly right. Here's a good one.
Stay down.
Here's
Stay
a
down.
Get the card. Get
Yeah.
the card. Come on.
This is a
Bring the
really
card.
good one. It's a really good one.
We'll take you in the tunnel and you come back out.
Yeah. Will an Epstein didn't kill himself sign be shown on the broadcast? Yes, plus 350. No, minus 600.
Will someone at the Super Bowl?
Hold
Someone
on.
at the Super Bowl.
Who's got the Super Bowl? CBS or Fox?
Fox with Joe Buck?
Now, if it
and,
was
Troy
CBS,
Aikman.
it was CBS because 60 Minutes did the special. I would say yes, but Fox might not. Fox might not because Epstein sort of palled around with all the Clintons, the Trumps, all that.
Yeah, but you
Fox
never
might.
know when someone will go.
You can put $1. I would put $1 down this. Will O.J. Simpson attend the game? $1 on plus 750. Yes.
He lives in Florida.
He tweets
You know,
a
it's
lot.
funny, but you don't realize how many people that when they show into the stands, just like y'all just got through saying, and Kevin's on saying,
Yeah. Yeah. They're just like
They got
It's
that
on
sign
me.
hidden.
yeah,
just like that guy.
I
that
just
was,
won.
Yeah,
I
just
just
like
won.
the guy that was on the news channel. He trains the military dogs, and he took a moment at the end and started talking about how the military dogs are really trained. And but he was wrapping it up, and when he got finished, he said, "And Epstein didn't kill himself." That's what he
that's
said
what-
at the end. They're gonna take their moment, their chances.
Will a fan run onto the field?
I hope so. That'd be fun.
It's about every year they do.
That'd be fun.
Will any player propose at the game?
No.
No propose.
No,
But
it's
I
not-
will say
no,
this.
No.
Will a gay couple be featured in a Super Bowl commercial plus 100 for yes? I'd put a lot of money on yes. That's
Yeah,
just
in
the
this day
trend.
and-
That's
in
the
this day
trend
and
now.
age- In this day and age, yes.
Yes.
Will there
So-
be an animal on the field that's not a bird?
Who are these? The 49ers.
Well, it
and
is
the
Florida.
Chiefs.
It might be a crocodile.
Do the
I'm not a
Chiefs?
crocodile.
An iguana falls out of the sky because it's so freaking cold, man.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
maybe.
And
That
so
was
so
weird.
Hunter just said an iguana
iguana.
may
Yeah.
fall out of the sky.
Yeah.
On
Alligator.
the Miami football field.
You
during
never
the
know.
Super
It could
Bowl.
be hanging out up on a light.
Phew.
They got all kinds of crazy snakes down there too.
I could
so
see
it
the.
has to be.
Listen.
Will the Chiefs have a horse? That's.
Listen, what happens in Florida, man? Anything's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So
I was just gonna say stays in Florida. I thought that's where we were
Nah.
going. How many Super Bowl commercials will include a dog over and under 3.5?
over, dude. It's over. Dogs and babies make commercials.
There is like a cult of the dog developing in this country. You know, much more like when I was a kid. I mean, like you had a dog. Like people now, it's like their dog has replaced their
A kid.
their
Yes,
children.
Sure have.
But yeah, I hate to tell you, they don't live that long, and they're not going to take care of you when you're old. So I mean, we love our dogs, but there's really
Sparky's
just
not gonna take care of me.
there is a cult of the dog. I mean, I go like to these little, like when you go to the swanky district, Nashville or whatever, spending there's people like walking their dogs in strollers and stuff.
Families
It's crazy.
now
crazy.
instead of having multiple kids, will have one kid and multiple dogs.
Yeah, I mean, we
It used to be multiple kids, maybe one
Yeah.
dog.
we have
flip-flopped.
we have dogs because we unfortunately had 3 miscarriages. So if you're that way, I could see. But if you're just not having kids to have a dog, I just don't understand why you would do that. I mean, I could say
most dogs don't come with student loan debt, so
That's
you
true.
can look
That's true.
look at
And they
it
don't talk back
yeah,
Yeah, they do.
but
Well.
there's
sometimes.
like we looked
You
at,
could just get them drugged up or drunk
we've
like
looked at
Tom
some-
does.
we-
and
we
suck
looked
his
yeah,
out.
Tom.
What?
Drug
Yeah,
your
I know. I
drug
do. I do drug my dogs.
Yeah.
But we,
CBD.
I do.
CBD for those listening.
do.
Don't call PETA CBD.
I do drug my dogs. But
It's hemp.
that I had a corgi for like 15 years and I loved him. You know, I was going to get me another corgi. And like, let's look at it. It's $5,000 for a corgi, $3,000 for a corgi. It's crazy. It's like, what do you got to make? Got a house payment, car payment, dog payment? Got to make my dog payment this month?
Call
crazy.
wherever you're getting to us.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
how many month lease can I have on this dog? Or how many
Yeah.
month? What's the payment per month for this dog?
Yeah,
$50.
I mean,
Okay.
I don't understand.
I was trying to. Who is he rapping? What is he?
I don't know what he's doing in there.
And he's saying it to himself. I am telling you, y'all, that was weird. He is doing the thing to himself. Oh, they a camera on JP in there.
There it is, but I don't have it turned
Oh,
on.
man.
Oh, man.
That would have been great.
Oh, we're gonna do some predictions. What we doing? What we
Well,
doing?
That's what
prediction,
we've
we
been
did
doing.
predict.
We've been making bets, Tom.
Hey, so, to end round out the show,
Which one of those is your favorite bet?
out of all of them we listed, probably the Trump tweets.
Half of them, I'm really just taken aback because I was not prepared for this part of the show. I wish I would have been prompted.
You
I would
weren't
have
prepared.
prepped accordingly.
You weren't prepared to
What?
learn of the dark dating scene.
Are
of
you
Jimmy
saying
Garoppolo,
you didn't
were
do
you?
your research and
I didn't do
the
my-
percentage
I
of
did-
butt cleavage and the average Super Bowl halftime shows?
I just don't know. What does that even mean? I don't even know what it
Tom,
means.
welcome to the world
What does
of
it
welcome to
mean?
the world of degenerate gambling.
Not only, it's a degenerate society. I want to watch the game. I want to watch football. I'm not going to sit there and
it
say,
makes it
I
more
wonder how much
interesting.
cleavage of different
I
sorts.
believe it or not, I was invited
I
to
am
a Super.
going to
I was
see.
invited to a
Have
Super
you never
Bowl
been to one of
party.
those Super Bowl? Go ahead.
I was supposed to say I was just invited to a Super Bowl party, and he literally told me in there. He said prop bets will be available. I was like, oh,
So, Tom,
Well, hold
wait a
on.
minute. Have you never been to a prop bet Super Bowl party?
No.
I'll give you. Go ahead. Ask Terry questions.
Me,
I'll tell you
Terry,
something. I'll tell you guys.
when
We
we
need
were
to do
kids,
this tomorrow.
remember you used to get
Gonna
the
do a
little
live Super
cards
Bowl
and you had
watch
little
party.
numbers?
Yes.
And
Watch it right there.
if the
Yeah.
score ended in the number you had, you won $5.
Yes.
That's my idea of Super Bowl gambling. Not gambling on cleavage here, cleavage there,
all right, prop
porn
bet.
star
All right, so
here.
All right,
here
prop bet 50-50 chance, heads or tails. Oh, coin flip, heads
Now
or
that's
tails.
okay. Now that's something. Okay, tails.
Over
That's something.
under 3.5 field goals in a game.
That's fine.
Okay.
Now, that kind of stuff. I
But
can
butt
go with.
cleavage
That's
isn't?
fine.
Doritos, if it's going to be. All right, so here you go, Tom. So we used to have some parties in college, and there were we would have a prop bet sheet, and you buy the sheet for $10.
Right.
Okay, and you have all these dumb prop bets. So for all the people in here that have no idea about football and stuff, they are on the edge of their seat to whether they see a monkey or a dog in the first commercial after the first quarter. Like you could word these questions like
I actually
after
did
the
hear
first
about
quarter.
that bet.
After the first quarter, like, will it be a dog or monkey in the first? And then you've got people just sitting there like, because some people there just watch the commercials anyway.
Yeah,
so
some
those
people
people,
are.
I don't even have to watch it because everybody in the room will yell what just happened. There's a monkey, or there's a Doritos, or there's a beer.
Just give me my card with the numbers on it. I'm fine with that. I mean, I can remember like the first Super Bowl I can remember was the Raiders and the Eagles. Remember that one? Long time ago. 1980, 1981, Jim Plunkett.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I remember that. That's when Dick Vermeil won the Super Bowl, right? Because of the Eagles won that. That's the one the Eagles won, right? A long time ago.
Yeah.
So I remember, like, I was an 18-year-old kid, and I had no idea what this thing meant, but everybody got one. And at the end of it, I'm like, Daddy, did I win? No. You know, but I remember that, but everybody can do that. Could you imagine a 7 or 8-year-old kid? Okay, what's your butt cleavage wager?
Well, you don't.
I mean,
give-
it's terrible.
Well, who lets the 7 or
terrible.
8-year-olds gamble on butt cleavage, Tom?
Dude, I'm telling you, man.
Today they would. My generation would
All right,
not.
here's some more. Here's some more.
I'm
Jersey
probably
number.
going to go to this party because it says the owners of the house put up prop bets from Vegas and that they will foot the money for. I don't got to put no money up.
It's crazy.
You
I just
gotta
go and
make
try and win money.
All right,
Or you could be one of them people. Who are you pulling for?
Now-
I don't know.
now,
I'm pulling
Tom,
for
what-
8 and 3.
Tom, what we could do if you wanted to, we could have a Super Bowl viewing party, just like what we're doing right now.
We just can't show the game
We
because
couldn't
it's
show the
NFL
game
licensing
on the
rules.
thing,
That's
and
what
everybody else could watch it. Listen.
Barstool Sports does that all the
We
time.
just
That's a
sit here-
name drop. They literally videotape themselves because they all
Right.
bet
And
on the game.
Terry, where are you watching the game?
right
At
here.
home.
That's what I'm gonna be on the couch by myself.
Listen.
My daughter will probably appear a couple times
tell you
to
what,
watch commercials.
I'll
be
tell you
there
what, if
by
y'all want to do a
myself.
viewing party, KTC will provide the beverages in a cooler down the
I
hall.
have a fun.
and if you guys want to come do this right here tomorrow night, I'll invite everybody.
I know how we should end the show.
And we can invite everybody from KTC to come in. And what we do is we have 4 seats here, but we watch it all over the building
Yeah.
and just have random 4 people rotate in every 15
Whether they
minutes
hit
to
or
sit here
not.
and comment and watch. Like Tom and then Rob and Tim and Terry. And then after the 10 minutes, then they'll rotate out, go have a beverage down the hall and some snacks.
Beverage.
And then the next 4 sit down and they talk about it during
Tom's
the show.
bringing-
Give us a play-by-play. Absolutely not.
No, I think there's a reshowing of the Phantom
Yeah.
Menace on, so
Yeah,
you
we're
can just
not
kind
gonna
of
have
hang
no
out.
you
at
can.
home.
tennis tomorrow.
Yeah, you can watch.
It'll be,
Yeah.
it'll be in the morning.
All right, here's some more prop bets. Jersey number 26.
Yeah.
Over or under the first one to score a touchdown?
That's a legit. That's a
dun,
Who's
legit
the running
question.
back from Kansas City? Only word.
Williams. He's like
Yeah.
20.
Then Tyreek Hill number
11. Miko
Yeah.
Hardman 17. Bunch of the wide receivers wear numbers underneath the 80s now.
Longest touchdown over 46.5 yards.
Should be.
There should,
Kansas
somebody
City
should. Kansas City should, yeah.
Number of commercials with a dog is 3.5.
Over.
What will Jennifer Lopez's first song be?
Turn the
On the
halftime
Floor, Jenny from the Block, Love Don't
show.
Cost
Jenny
a
from
Thing,
the block.
Mr. 305. Tommy, no thoughts on that one?
I don't pay enough attention to that to know. You know what? You know what my memory of Jennifer Lopez is when she was on In Living Color back in the early '90s. That's my.
That was a great show.
Yeah, wow.
A team to score the last, will they win?
There you go.
That's a tough one. Now that's actually interesting. It's
Well-
much more interesting than other garbage. That's a,
It could.
I would
be.
say
It-
yes. I say
well,
this game's pretty evenly matched, Terry. What's the spread? That's
1.5.
I don't think so.
1.5.
1.5.
I think it's one of those that the team
San
will
Francisco
score, and
one
then
and
they
a
got
half,
to
right?
kick
No,
an
it's
onside kick.
Kansas City?
1.5.
Okay. Really?
Kansas City
Minus
1.5.
1.5. A lot of people thought the way the bettors were moving, it could have just been an even pick'em game. Just
It
gonna
is
be
very
even.
close. It is very close. Whoever has the last ball last
Well,
month.
as we're getting close to the end of the show, I think it's time that we pay respects to everybody from the Panthers organization that was drafted or brought there by Jerry Richardson that is now gone. May I quote a great question asked to the most recent departure from the Carolina Panthers. And no, I did not make this up. I got this from a story. During Super Bowl 50, they have media day, obviously. They ask many questions. And, you know, it's always nice when somebody walks up there and asks the question that the players don't usually get asked. You know, everybody's going to ask, well, how do you guard this guy? Or how's the matchup going to work? What was the game plan? It's always nice when they hear something different. So Greg Olsen is the one this week that just left from the Carolina Panthers. And one of my favorite, and I got to meet him in person when I did the last year's Super Bowl Media Day, one of my favorite sports media guys, PFT commenter from Barstool Sports, asked Greg Olsen a question. He said, Greg, I got a letter from a little girl, and she wanted me to ask you this question. People make fun of me for wearing my glasses. They call me Four Eyes and makes me feel bad. Does it hurt your feelings when people make fun of you for your third leg?
It's terrible.
Needless to say, Greg Olsen said, I'm not going there.
Okay.
I just want to put everyone on authority in Miami. If you're staying on the 7th floor, keep your doors locked this weekend. Greg Olsen is in town.
You guys are terrible.
Thomas Davis is in town.
He is in town.
The
Oh,
Miami,
hold on.
the whole Miami 7th floor crew is in town this weekend. If you're on a hotel and on the 7th floor,
And if you don't know what we're
lock your
talking
doors.
about, 7th floor, look it up.
Can I?
University of Miami.
Give me a second. I have to, because none of you corrected me. My baseball buddy Richard Howell has been listening. Just corrected me. He said, "Come on, Tom. Jim Plunkett was the MVP of that Super Bowl in '81." And the only reason why Richard knows that is he's old as dirt. He's like 4 or 5 years older than me. So, Richard, thank you for calling and correcting me on that. But it was I remember the game, and I remember it was Ron Jaworski. He was from Youngstown, who was playing, or Youngstown States, where he went to college. I remember the game, but I couldn't remember who won. So it was actually the Raiders, not the Eagles.
Well,
who
that was
won
the
that
year
Super Bowl.
after Brian Sipe won the MVP, so I'm guessing the Browns were stolen.
That's
They had
right.
a playoff game stolen from them,
right.
probably that year too, didn't they, Terry?
Yeah. So that's thank you, Richard, for correcting me there.
I gotta give me a
wasn't
Brian.
wrong.
I want a Brian Sipe jersey.
There
I just
was
really
your
do.
fun Greg Olsen story.
All right, so
You guys are terrible.
maybe by
Yeah.
you guys are terrible. Maybe by next week.
Stop acting so shocked about Jimmy G's personal life.
I know, right? So maybe
Read E! News.
I think
Tom-
we're gonna
Tom,
get a
was you
call.
not-
We're gonna get a call from the FCC.
was you not prepared for any
You
of
realize
that? Was you not
right?
prepared for any of that today, Tom?
No.
Oh no, I was not.
We didn't even get to Coach K crying
No,
to
I
his
didn't.
fans in the stands about
Oh, Greg Olson might go to the Patriots, Terry. Did you hear that one? Greg Olson maybe to the
Greg
Patriots.
Olson may go to Washington, too, because he loves Rivera.
I also saw Dallas. So
he's going everywhere, man.
Yeah, but Patriots makes a fit. They don't have a tight end. They need a tight end. Maybe that entices Brady to stay.
What if the Patriots signed Olsen and Witten?
They're not going to sign Witten.
Then they got
Jason
Witten's already said he was going to the Giants if he left.
Did he? Yeah. I don't think they'll keep him there one more. Surely he's an institution. Can't let him go.
All right, guys. Today we have Tar Heel basketball and Charlotte Hornet basketball on KTC Broadcasting. Hunter, I think you got a game to go to on Monday for the Hornets and Magic. And the next Saturday, I've got Mavericks tickets. I'm going to see Luka. You're going to be covering it as a reporter for that as well.
Man, you get to go to that game. Yeah. How come I never get a cool gig like that? Come on, man.
Do you want to go?
I may want to go to that. I would be.
Do you want to be my media buddy?
I might be your media buddy for one night.
What is a media buddy?
I don't know. You got to call down there and get him a media pass.
What night?
Like you used to do for me, the ones on
the
streams.
day ones.
The day ones.
Maybe
what day is that?
Because we got a
Saturday.
Because we've got official
Saturday. I can do it.
We've got official.
You can come with me in the locker
We've got
room.
official NBA passes.
Not in that way.
So,
They'll be meeting on the 7th floor.
FCC.
What did you just say?
We're going to make him be quiet right now.
What's
We're sorry,
the
sir. We're
word?
sorry.
What were the words? I want the transcript.
Nah, man.
I'm sure the transcript looks way worse
yeah.
than what was meant by what y'all just
we're at
said.
the end of our show.
All right, we got to pick your final picks. Super Bowl 54. Centofanti.
I'm going with the Chiefs.
Give me a pen to write with.
I'm going with the Chiefs because I like Mahomes. I like their weapons. I do like San Francisco's defense and running game. I think the Chiefs have a little bit more. I think it's destiny for Mahomes this year. And my mom would disown me if I sided with the DeBartlos. So I have to go with the Chiefs.
Yeah, he wants that inheritance.
I'm
going to go with the. Go ahead. What's the score?
Got any type of score?
What's the score? I want to say 27-24 Chiefs.
Oh, that's pretty close. Pretty close. I'm going to go with Kansas City as well. It's been my Super Bowl picks before the season started. Score, I'm going to go 32, the Chiefs, 24. Yeah, I'm going to go 32-24, Chiefs.
Terry.
All righty. I haven't picked for them all year long, but now all of a
And now
sudden I'm going to take them.
Jinx it.
I hate the 49ers. Kansas City 31, San Francisco 23.
31.
We're very close.
23. That was the halftime score of the Crest Ashbrook game last night. For you folks that were wondering. JP, I need a winner. It's either Kansas City or San Francisco, and I need a score. Well, these three fellas picked Kansas City, which obviously means, and I was already picking them before they did, San Francisco. They got the better defense.
They do.
The only thing the one major thing I'm concerned about with them is that their head coach
Kyle Shanahan
is the leader of the 28-3 blown
debacle
lead in the Super Bowl, and they've got the defense. They've got the team that can come back from about anything.
And plus, we're all taking the experienced coach and hold them. Yeah, so that's another.
But I'm going
thing.
41-33.
I'm
San
guessing we all hit the
Francisco over Kansas City. Right. He knew the mascot. What's the score? 10-3. You better go something low. Everybody else went high. 14-7. Even got a football number right. You guys, y'all doubt JP so much. That's the golden pick right there.
Attack of the Clones will be on Sunday night.
14-7. 14-7 from JP and the San Francisco 49ers.
Yes,
all right, folks. I want to thank everybody for joining us this weekend. We had Mitchum's Kitchen breakfast. I had the sunrise special. Terry, you had something funky looking over there. What'd you have today?
Yeah, I had bacon, egg, and cheese on toast.
See, I've converted Terry to was Tatum there this morning?
No.
Tatum took the Saturday off. Tatum's good kid, Burns kid. But, yes, bacon, egg, and cheese on toast from Mitchum's Kitchen is the best breakfast sandwich around. You need to go get one.
Hunter, what'd you have? Well, you had the same thing I did. All right, JP, what'd you have? Terry, phone number? 704-276-1155.
That's right.
That's
and
it.
you can dine in or carry out. They're on Highway 27 and 274 in Vail, beautiful Vail, North Carolina.
All right, folks. We'll see you next week on Saturday Morning Sports Talk, KDCBroadcasting.com.
Still on beat, showing love to the